Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're not starting off with our usual opening this week. As some of you may have heard, we lost a legend in the wrestling business this past week. Last Monday, Scott Hall passed away, complications while having surgery. He had fallen and had broken the replacement hip that he had received a few years ago, and when he was undergoing surgery to replace the broken replacement hip, three blood clots had broken away from the wound area, traveled to his heart, and he suffered three successive heart attacks as a result. And later in the day, his family pulled him off life support and he passed away. So, um, just wanted to pay a little tribute to the bad guy at the opening of the show tonight. And that sucks because he had spent years trying to get his life back on track due to addiction to painkillers and being an alcoholic, and he received a lot of help from Diamond Dallas Page. If you've seen the documentary Resurrecting Jake the Snake, which was basically about DDP's efforts and to help Jake the Snake Roberts overcome his demons, Scott Hall was going through those same demons, and there are clips in that documentary where Jake was also helping Scott Hall at the same time. And both men had gotten sober, clean and sober, for a long time after that. So for him to pass away that way after fighting so hard to get everything on track just sucks, man. It really. Uh, yeah. The little clip, then the picture and the little quote there I have from him on that tribute is from his induction as a solo performer into the WWE Hall of Fame back in 2014. So, we started the show, like I said, without the usual introduction, because I thought this should take precedence over that, and started with the moment of silence in his honor as well. And just been joined by Kingpin. How are you tonight, Kingpin?
Not too bad, man. You're rubbing your mic on something. You keep getting a real loud scratching noise.
Oh, is it?
That time it didn't happen, but while you were just doing your monologue, it was like when you come to the end of a sentence, it sound like you know how like it sounds like when a shirt rubs against a microphone, it's pinned on your chest.
Mm-hmm.
It's not doing it right now, but
Okay. But you could hear what I was saying, though. It didn't like interfere with what I was saying or anything.
no, no, it might even. I don't know about the YouTube side. I've been listening to you from the StreamYard side, but you, it didn't it didn't mess anything up. You know, what I mean, it's fine.
Okay. Well, what about, do you have any thoughts you want to add to what I was saying?
Uh, is it clear that he was how he died? Like,
Yeah, yeah. He died under care of surgeons while he was essentially he died on the operating table. It was just a formality that they had put him on life support.
yeah, it's tough, man. He was seriously entertaining. He never you never felt like he was leaving anyone on the floor. You know what I mean? However they say it, he left it all in the ring. I guess you could say
Hmm.
some of the characters now you feel like they're kind of phoning it in, but with his era and him, Scott Hall himself, every time you watched him, it was like he gave it his all. Even in his you know latter years when he wasn't quite as athletic, he was still putting it completely out there. So he was definitely a good one to have around, interesting to watch, and always fun seeing him in the ring.
Oh man, the ladder matches with him and Shawn Michaels, man, when he was Razor Ramon, they were instant classics. The whole series of them. They did what, two or three of them, and there wasn't a bad one among them. You know? And then him and Nash, when they went over to WCW and formed the NWO with Hulk Hogan, which is probably the most iconic heel turn in the business. You know what I mean? I mean, because nobody saw Hogan turning heel, and that was Nash and Hall's idea. You know, and the
But
guy just had.
just think about the Razor Ramon character, which I would argue he's probably the most famous for. Uh, anybody, look, come on now. We'd have clowned any movie. That'd have been the funniest like B comedy movie out there. Like that'd have been the Napoleon Dynamite, you know. But everybody loved that character, even though it was all greasy and kind of stupid and didn't make any sense. Everybody still loved the Razor Ramon character.
Well, if you listen to what he said in an interview, he was clowning on Scarface with that character. You know, the Al Pacino movie.
But that's what I mean. He took what should have got him laughed out of the business. Like if you're sitting there thinking about, and like, dude, some guy's gonna get his hair all greasy and walk around with a toothpick like he's some much whatever. That's stupid. Put some makeup on and talk about you're from some foreign jungle somewhere. But he made it work. I mean,
Yeah,
he made it work.
yeah, he definitely made that work. I mean, when he went into the Hall of Fame for WWE, he went in as Razor Ramon as a solo person. He didn't go in as Scott Hall until the NWO went in. You know, what, he's probably the only guy who has done multiple different angles of his career. You know, playing different guys, I guess you could say, who went in to the Hall of Fame specifically as one character.
That scratching noise happened again when you first started talking.
Huh. Yeah, I have
Buck
no idea what it is.
Buck said he don't hear it out there though.
Yeah. See, I just heard it with you just then.
Well, I'm crinkling
Oh,
something
okay.
in my hand.
Okay, well that explains it. Maybe it's this bag. Is this what you heard like that?
No, it was. I don't know where the microphone is
The
on my
microphone's by
laptop,
my
but
ear.
it sounds like you're rubbing something over top of the microphone.
Yeah, because I haven't touched it.
Well, and it makes sense. You're probably just using the microphone on your laptop, right, or your computer, right?
No, it's right here. Yeah, it's
Oh,
right here by my ear.
yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to figure out where it's coming from.
Anyway, good to see you out there, Buck.
By the way, in honor of Scott Hall, NWO hat on tonight. I ain't been wearing it lately, but it's a nice show.
Yeah, I was gonna text you because the day I heard that Scott Hall died was the same day that I heard that Big E broke his neck.
Yeah, he might be done. His career might be done.
But I figured, I remember, you're just trying to get all the new house stuff, so I didn't feel like bothering you. And then you didn't do a show last week because we did the other thing.
Yeah. Well, the other thing, none of this had happened yet. I mean, you had the Big E thing, and
Right? Yeah, yeah,
this
you're right.
happened like the same weekend. Big E's thing happened on Friday,
Yeah,
and then this happened. It's Sunday into Monday.
yeah, that's right. You're right.
You know?
I didn't. I didn't do any text chatting. Like I listened to a bunch of the shows, so I didn't see if you were out there or not. And then, well, we were on Travis's show together.
Yeah,
I guess Buck heard it.
yeah. He said it sounds like my mic has a short in it. Oh, that's great. I'm gonna have to get. I'm gonna have to get a new set of headphones soon. I think anyway, because this one, the one speaker keeps like shortened, so it might be what it is. It might have a short in the wire.
So what was he in the hospital for?
Hip replacement.
So wait, see, I thought that he had a some type of drug or drunk deal.
No,
So
no, he's been clean and sober for since 2013, 2014.
Yeah, yeah. I thought that there was something, but so how do you die from a hip replacement surgery?
Okay. Yeah, I'd explained it during the monologue. I guess you didn't weren't after yet. He had gone in for surgery. He was on the operating table being operated on. Three blood clots broke away from the region where they were operating and went straight to his heart, and he had three successive heart attacks from the blood
Was
clot.
he Fauci sauced?
I do not know.
Has he ever had history of heart trouble or anything like that?
No, but you get blood clots can really fuck with your body. So if
Oh
he had
yeah,
three
yeah,
blood
but
clots go, from that wound where the blood was starting to clot around that wound and they broke loose and the doctors didn't know it and they went right to his heart, yeah, you're done for at that point.
okay, that makes sense. If he was injured and there was a blood clots forming at the injury and then they passed,
Hmm.
okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, yeah. When they cut him open, they're getting ready to, and then all of a sudden he starts having three heart attacks.
Yeah,
Yet
that
in
sucks.
rapid succession, while he's on the operating table.
How old is that? I can't math, so how old does that make
63.
him?
He was 63 years old.
He's still a kid, man.
Hmm.
Dang. Tip of the hat to you, man.
Yeah, I put that picture together Monday night. I sat here Monday night putting that together. I put it together before it even the fact that he was even announced as having passed away came up. When they said that he was on life support and the family was considering taking him off life support, I started working on that. Changed up the picture and the visual effect around the picture. I don't know if you can tell or not, but it's got like a fade effect on the picture itself, blocking out because the picture itself there was more of like the lights and stuff behind him. But I did a lens fade kind of technique on it where you only see like immediately around him. But yeah, I started working on that before the death announcement itself had even came in.
Thanks for popping by, Bernie.
Yep. Thank you, Bernie. But yeah. And that quote, that's how he ended off his speech. Hard work pays off, dreams come true, bad times don't last, but bad guys do.
Yeah, I mean, especially in the entertainment world, everybody loves the bad guy. You know, they always talk about,
Hmm.
like you see in TV shows, oh, he's the kind of guy who rooted for the bad guy in a movie. Everybody roots for the bad guy in a movie.
Well, with Scott Hall, you literally were rooting for the bad guy. I mean, if you were rooting for Razor Ramon, you were rooting for the bad guy. Because most of the time, Razor was the bad guy. If you were rooting for Scott Hall as Scott Hall in the NWO, you were rooting for the bad guy. The only time Scott Hall was the face, was in the AWA before he jumped over to WCW. Because he went from AWA to WCW, where he was the Diamond Stud, being managed by Diamond Dallas Page before Page became a wrestler. And it was from there that he jumped over to WWF and became Razor Ramon, and then went back to WCW and was just himself. Yeah. And from that point on, anywhere he went, he was just himself. Because after WCW folded, he went over to New Japan for a while and did a couple of shows on the indie circuit. And I think he did a couple of matches in Impact back when it was TNA, when it was first starting out, when it was only available on pay per view and they didn't have like a normal TV show or anything, where it was like 10, $15 for each of their monthly shows.
Good to see you, Fiend Dog. Thanks for popping in.
Yep, even a Fiend Dog. Yeah, he was definitely one of the all time greats. And the only thing that lacked in his career was that, just like with Arn Anderson, he was never a world champion. Right? It's hard to believe, right? Scott Hall never held a world title, but never did. In any of the promotions he wrestled in, he never held their world title. think the highest he got was to the United States Championship in WCW or the World Tag Team Championships.
Yeah, it's a lot more believable. Arn Anderson not having a title, because I mean most people are going to think of the tag team and the Four Horsemen and the enforcer type of guy, but Scott Hall was more of a solo wrestler, so you figured he'd have at least got the title once.
Well, if you think about it, Hall did a lot of wrestling in tag teams. When he was in the AWA, he was primarily a tag team wrestler, and then with the NWO, he was primarily a tag team wrestler. Him and Nash as the outsiders.
Yeah, see, I don't know about the when all the older guys went to the other one and became like Hulk Hogan bad guys. I really wasn't watching it, so I don't know.
Yeah, it was only really during Razor that he was single, and even then, he did tag team stuff with him and 1-2-3 Kid and whatnot. Yeah, yeah, that's absolutely right, Fiend Dog. Some people didn't need the world title to get over, but it's not so much that it's when they a lot of guys when they give them the world title, like what we just saw with Big E when he had the world title, or Kofi Kingston, it's a reward for the loyalty they had. Like when Ron Garvin was given the world championship back in the late '80s, that was just a pat on the back for all the hard work he had put in. So a lot of times, even though guys don't need that belt to get over, they'll put it on a guy just as a way of saying thank you and showing that this guy meant something to the promotion.
Ronnie Garvin was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Big E's hurt bad.
Yes.
Uh, you, what do you think? I mean, I know it's all speculation right now because it's so early, but do you
One
think
of
he'll
the
ever wrestle again?
one of the leading neck surgeons in the country has stated that the neck injury Big E has ends careers. I'm gonna let that guy speak for it. He knows it. I don't. You break your C1 vertebrae in your neck, you're done. That's it.
I thought he had multiple issues. Was it
Yeah,
just the one?
that's the one that's going to end his career. He also, I think, also has issues with the C6, which is lower down in your neck. But the C1, if you do any kind of like damage like what he did to it, you're according to this leading, I can't remember the guy's name, neck surgeon. That's it. Your career's over. That type of injury has ended football players' careers. It's ended other wrestlers' careers. It's ended other athletes' careers and other sports and whatnot. So, according to what this guy was saying, if that's the injury he has, he's done.
Well, the good news is at least he'll be able to lead a regular life. Like he can go back to just being a human. Hopefully, he saved his money and he's got some stuff to do after wrestling. But it sucks his career is going to be over probably.
He can always go into managing maybe somewhere or training people as well. A lot of guys when something like that happens, they'll go into training the younger guys so that they're still active but not actually getting in the ring. How did he break his neck, Buck? He was wrestling against him and Kofi were taking on Sheamus and Ridge Holland, and it was just one of those things that happened. He landed wrong off of a belly to belly suplex, release overhead suplex, landed on the back of his neck. It was just he didn't rotate far enough to land on his back. It's just one of those accidental things that happens. And there's not much people can do. There really wasn't anything anybody could do to prevent it. It's just one of those things. I've seen the replays and everything from when this happened, not last night's SmackDown, but last week's SmackDown. And I saw various replays from different angles and stuff that they were showing on the various wrestling news channels and whatnot, and you know, there's just nothing anybody could have done to prevent it. I mean, it. I don't know how to explain it. He just landed wrong
How did they end the match?
quickly. Yeah, Big E was take. They didn't even Big E didn't even factor in the rest of the match. As soon as he was down, because they pulled the spot was done on the outside. It was one of those outside spots, and the doctor was right there. As soon as it happened, the doctor throws his hands up in the X, calling for the medics, and they came down and they got him out of there real quick.
So he wasn't. This was multiple people involved. It wasn't just him and one other dude wrestling.
It was a regular wrestling match. They were just fighting on the outside. You know, guys will go outside and start fighting during a match.
Right, yeah, but that's what I mean. The camera's still on him though.
Yeah, the camera was still on him. It's on. It was on camera when it happened.
So that's what I mean. The guy flipped him over and he got hurt, and then he just got away from him and was like, "Oh, hey,
Yeah,
this is serious."
as soon as the doctor threw his hands up in the X, they cut away from there real quick and went back to the ring with Sheamus and Kofi.
So then it wasn't a regular match. There was other
It
guys
was a tag
involved.
team. It was a tag team match. It was a regular tag team match. I
You
mean, it
didn't
wasn't
say
like a
that.
hardcore or anything. I said it
Well,
was a
that's what I
tag
mean.
team
They
match at the beginning.
they had action to cut to, not just
Yeah,
an empty ring.
yeah. No, it wasn't just an empty ring. No,
Well, yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out is if it was a
yeah.
solo match
No,
and
no, it
those are
was a
the
tag
only
team
two
match.
on camera.
Yeah, it was a tag team. See, you weren't paying attention. I said at the beginning it was a tag team match.
Yeah, but you didn't say it just now when I asked you that.
Oh, I thought you understood that fact already.
Rich, you know me very well now over all these years. You know I don't understand anything.
But yeah, it was a tag team match, and so as soon as the ref put his hands up in the X, and usually that's the referee that does for the ringside doctor to do it, you knew it was bad right then and there because the doctor isn't usually one that does that. If it's a minor injury, the
Did the
doctor
guy
doesn't get involved.
did the guy wrestling with him? What did he do? Like, did he know that he hurt the guy, or was it like, did he keep kicking him? And then the doctor
No,
ran over and was
no.
like, "No, no, stop."
As soon as the doctor saw what happened, the doctor went over and checked on him and threw his hands up in the air. He got back up on the side of the ring.
All right,
He got out of the way.
I'm the guy, and I flip Big E over on his head. And as soon as he hits his head, what am I doing? Do I know that I just hurt the guy and I moved away
He
and let
got
the
up.
doctor run up? Like I didn't
Basically,
see
he
the
got.
things.
Yeah, I know. Basically, he got back up on his feet because the belly to belly, you're both falling at that point, right? Which is why you really can't blame him because at that point you don't. There's only so much control you have if the guy doesn't land properly. There's nothing you can do to try and save him or anything. He gets back up. He sees the doctor checking on him. He gets out of the way, right then and there. There's no him thinking the doctor's faking it or anything. He basically, I'm guessing he could tell right away that it was a serious situation. Oh,
Right?
Ellis is out there.
Yeah.
You wanna link Ellis? I'll forward you. I'll send you one real quick over on Facebook if you want to jump in here. Maybe you can give us some of your thoughts on the passing of Scott Hall. So,
Yeah, I guess so. They pretty much just got lucky that they did their move right in front of the doctor.
yeah, well, there's always a doctor right there at ringside. He's usually over in the timekeeper's area.
So in other words, they got lucky that they did it right in front of the doctor. Because if they'd have been on the other side of the ring and did it, the guy could have kicked him a few more times
Yeah,
before he realized Big E was hurt.
yeah. So, I guess you could say that. Yeah.
Have you heard about that? Uh, what's her name? The girl with the black girl with the blue hair says that's Sasha Banks, right?
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on with her to be honest. I
She
have
was she was the black girl that got hurt, right?
Again,
Or
yeah, she's the one that always gets hurt. It's like anytime you turn around, Sasha Banks is going to be hurt somehow.
yeah, the last time I saw her got hurt, that Ric Flair chick did like one of them tombstone deals on her or something. No, a backbreaker, and I think she actually like dropped her real good. Just the black chick was writhing in pain, clearly.
Yeah, I'm not. I think she came back. I don't know if she's hurt again or not. To be honest with you, I haven't really heard anything about her, so I don't know what's going on with her right now. To be honest with you, yeah, I haven't been watching SmackDown or Raw, so I don't really know what's going on there with WWE anymore. I mostly just like catch up the reviews and stuff.
Alice said, "Go ahead and send him a link."
Yeah, I already had. It's over on Facebook on Messenger, Ellis.
What about some of these business deals that you've been talking about the past couple weeks? Anything changing in there?
Well, as far as the Ring of Honor and AEW thing, we still don't know exactly what the deal is, what they're going to be doing with that. But there was an interesting signing by WWE this week that we had previously touched on. Cody Rhodes has been confirmed to have re signed with WWE.
And he was one of the dudes that got cut in this past spree of people getting cut, right?
No, he was the one of the founders of AEW.
So now he's going to WWE.
Yeah, he's going back to WWE. He was with them years ago and
Yeah.
left
Okay.
because they really weren't doing anything with him. He was the Stardust character over there, and he was getting angry about that. They basically were trying to turn him into his brother. Right? So he went in Ring of Honor, New Japan, and indie stuff, and then eventually things happened, and AEW got formed with him, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and Tony Khan, who actually owns the company. And we were talking about this a couple weeks ago, where he wasn't getting the money he wanted and whatnot, and so he didn't. They didn't resign him. He went and signed with WWE.
What about this Shane McMahon thing before we get Ellison here? Is Shane McMahon disowned from the family still, or what?
As far as I know.
No.
Hey, Ellis, long time no see, man. How you been?
Yeah, how you guys doing?
Yeah,
Good
a
to
little
have you with
bummed
us, sir.
out.
Can you hear me? That's the first question.
Yes, hear you perfectly fine.
Oh, good. I'm good. I'm good. Moved to Ohio last year, and things are going well.
What part of Ohio you in?
Salem, up close to Lake Erie,
Okay, that's
or not too
nice.
far from Lake Erie, I should say.
Yeah, it's not. That's nice looking country up that way.
Yeah, it ain't bad. I've had a horrible cold ass winter that I am not used to.
Yeah,
But
we've been
yeah, you
getting
were.
spells of that in our area too. You know, Kingpin
Yeah,
and I are. Kingpin's over in Maryland, but he's not far from where I am.
yeah, you were asking me my thoughts about Scott Hall. I think that we've lost another legend. The man was involved in some of the greatest storylines in wrestling history. I mean, you go back to the late '90s, the whole NWO thing. That was him. The Crow Sting, that was him. He come up with that. You go back further than that, with the ladder matches. First
Mm-hmm.
guy to do that. You know, um, he was just an impressive guy with a lot of talent. I was pulling hard for him, man. I was pulling hard for him. I was hoping he'd come out of this, but 3 heart attacks after a major surgery.
Adoring.
You know, yeah. Well, exactly.
Yeah.
So it didn't look good. When I seen the Twitter post from Kevin Nash, I was like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
It just, it hit me kind of hard. I was like, damn. because over the last several years, he's been getting his life back together.
Yeah,
You know,
him and Jake,
yep,
they were
all
doing it
thing,
as a team with DDP.
yep, you know. So, and then here's the thing, dude. It ain't just Scott Hall that this is going to affect. I mean,
Oh no,
DDP, Jake the Snake, Kevin Nash. Think about all the guys that was impacted by Scott Hall in a major way.
yeah, and DDP helping Hall and Roberts was his way of paying back to them because it was Hall, Nash, and Jake the Snake that got him his first opportunity in WCW after he floundered in AEW.
Yep.
They're the
Yep.
guys that got him his job in WCW.
So, you know, say what you will about Scott Hall. He had his demons,
Everybody
but
does.
but what he meant to the wrestling world in general can never be overstated.
No, not
Um,
at all.
it's just a heart wrenching thing, and he's what 62, 63.
He was 63.
Man, that's not old.
No,
This man had many years of life left in him. It's just one of those freak things that happen.
yeah. I don't know if you've seen Jake and DDP's podcast. I haven't got a chance to see the this week's after after Scott died, so I don't know what they were saying. But if you watch that, they talked a lot about how Scott Hall and Jake were on the same road, and they were both fighting their asses off to get off of it because they really weren't
Yeah.
doing anything with him. He was
Well, it's a crying shame. Two-time WWE Hall of Famer. I could go on all night about the accolades. Multiple-time tag team champions. Uh, with a few different partners. So rest in peace, Scott.
Yeah, there's only a handful of guys, by the way, for those of you out there that don't know, that are in the WWE Hall of Fame twice.
Yep.
You got Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan, obviously, those two guys. Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and Booker T. That's it.
Yep.
Those are the only five guys that are in the Hall of Fame twice. And they're all from our childhoods.
Yep. Every one of them.
And I'm not as into wrestling as you guys are anymore. I was when I was younger. But to the naysayers, these guys are elite athletes. And to be in the wrestling, whether it's WWE or just Wrestling Hall of Fame, and like you guys are talking about the five guys that are in there twice, that's serious athletic ability and years and years worth of high level entertainment, whether you like wrestling or not.
Oh, you have to respect what they do and what they put their bodies through. Um, there's very few guys that go through even 8 or 10 years of pro wrestling that don't have health issues for the rest of their life because of it.
Oh, yeah, we were just
Um,
talking about before you jumped in here, Big E, how he just busted his neck and his career's probably over.
I was thinking about that earlier. And now, let me clarify something right here. And Rich already knows this, but I don't keep up with a lot of the new wrestling. I really don't. In fact, the last full show of wrestling I ever watched was in 2001. I watched the last episode of Nitro, and that was pretty much it for me.
I've had
Um, I,
I've had these guys watching WWE pay per views because I get them for free on Peacock.
and so I know who Big E is, but I haven't seen maybe one, two of his matches. I know he's a big, tough, strong dude.
Oh yeah.
Um, he sort of reminds me of Ron Simmons.
He's I'll top you one better. He's Ron Simmons if Ron Simmons had a love child with Dr. Death Steve Williams.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I can see that.
He reminds
But
me. He reminds me of a black Scott Steiner, but not crazy.
Yeah, that's a
that,
good apt description as well.
yeah. Well, hey, I love Scott Steiner. Don't pick on Scott. Uh,
Yeah, we can like Scott Steiner, but you got to admit the guy isn't exactly playing
well, yeah,
playing back. His brother will tell you that. Rick says that.
hmm But with that being said, you go back to Kurt Angle, who had a broken neck and wrestled and won a gold medal with it in the
Different,
Olympics.
yeah, it was different vertebrae. That's the situation. It's not that necessarily that he broke his neck that's going to end his career. It's the vertebrae he broke, according to one of the leading neck surgeons in the country who said this.
Yeah, he'd come back. Modern medicine is a amazing thing. I mean, there is always that chance that hey, full recovery, he can come back. It didn't slip apparently,
No,
so it was just fractured.
yes, but
Fractures can heal.
yeah, the problem is it's the C1 vertebrae that he broke, and according again to one of the leading neurosurgeons in the country, no athlete has ever broken that and returned to whatever sport they were involved in.
Mhm. First time for everything, brother. I
No,
ain't
I'm
gonna
not
count the
saying
man
there's.
out.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I'm with you on that. I'm not saying that he's absolutely done, but what I'm saying is, if this doctor is right, he might be done.
Well, and I'm sure that he seems like a very intelligent individual, so he probably has a fallback plan.
Yeah. Oh, another thing that probably helped him with this too is the fact that they were in Alabama, in the town where WWE's surgical team is based.
Yeah, exactly. So he got there quick and got looked at quick. And hey, let's just hope for the best for him and hope he pulls through. And hopefully, if he can't continue wrestling, the WWE will find somewhere else to use him.
Yeah, and like we were talking before you jumped in, they could they'd possibly use him as a trainer at the power plant, or not power plant, the performance center. Yeah, there's a blast from the past, right?
Yeah, the power plant. Wow. Uh,
WCW power plant.
way back there.
Yeah,
Lord, talk
I
about
throw
making me feel old.
I throw a
Um,
quick shout out to Jason Stewart. He's probably listening. I seen he was trying to hop in. So
yeah,
what up, Jason? Keep trying to get in here, buddy.
yeah. I
Sorry.
didn't get a chance to say hello to MKJO out there. I saw you had jumped in, but with the discussion going on, I got a chance to say anything.
you know, interesting show you got here, Rich. I kind of like it.
Yeah, we talk about a little bit of everything on the wrestling front, new and old on here.
I remember when you and I had a
Mhm.
weekly wrestling thing going
Well,
on
this is
for a
basically the
while.
continuation of it.
Yeah,
Kingpin jumped in and took over as co-host, and I get some of the other guys jump in every so often, like Jason is.
yeah. Um, I tell you what, though, here lately, where I've been getting a lot of my wrestling stuff is from podcasts. I
Mm-hmm.
listen to Arn Anderson, Jim Cornette, Ric Flair, guys that I grew up watching. Guys, if you want to get into some really good stuff, listen to some of these guys.
Yeah, and
Um,
definitely check out if you haven't yet. Check out DDP Snake Pit. It's him and Jake Roberts with Conrad Thompson.
yeah, I like Conrad. Um, if you can get past Jim Cornette's political views, he's good to listen to.
He's a
Uh,
good storyteller. What gets on my nerves is when he starts harping on everything's got to go back to the '80s. Because Jim Cornette is stuck in the '80s.
well, so am I when it comes to
not,
wrestling.
not as bad as Cornette, man.
I'll admit,
Cornette,
hey,
Cornette was bitching back in the '90s that things had to go back to the '80s.
well, I can't argue with him. You know, I'll be honest with you, dude. Up until probably 91, 92, you couldn't have paid me to believe that wrestling wasn't real. You couldn't have paid me to believe it.
Well, there were certain things. Well,
Well, yeah,
you
but
weren't going to convince me that the Undertaker was actually a dead, guy from the 1800s.
well, yeah, but I was talking about actually what was going on in the ring. I would have never have thought those fights wasn't real fights. They weren't trying to kill each other. But
Well, at times they were.
but you know, like all things, I eventually had my eyes open to the reality of the situation. But you know what? I still believe. Um, I've been watching wrestling since I was probably 8 years old. I'm quite a bit older than that now. Um, so, but all that being said, I I still think that the best that I have ever seen come out of the 80s. The best wrestling matches has all stemmed from the 80s. Now, there's been some good ones since then, great ones, but you will never see anything like a Rock and Roll Express versus Midnight Express match again, or anything like a Magnum TA and Tully Blanchard I Quit match in a cage. The original War Games matches. They can't duplicate that because there's nobody out there with that kind of talent anymore.
I don't know, man. Have you seen the Young Bucks versus FTR?
Nope.
No. Yeah, until recently, FTR was managed by Tully Blanchard.
Oh, okay.
You're right, Ellis. You're correct. You're
Now,
correct. You're correct, Ellis.
Yeah, yes. There ain't no substitute for Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express,
I'm telling you guys,
Freebirds.
there is, but you just got to you got to put the nostalgia behind it and look at what these guys are doing. You look at
That's the problem.
FTR is like watching Blanchard and Anderson back in the ring again, just in
Right.
different bodies.
But look. See, Ellis is going from the nostalgic point.
Yeah, I know.
You're going from the technical point, and both of you have to be correct. But you can't take away. It's been
Oh,
done once. There's
you don't
only
take it.
one Rock and Roll Express. You're
Yeah, there's
only gonna
only
get
one
that.
Rock and Roll
Plus, we
Express,
were
but
younger and more excited about it at the time. So there's no way that you could. They haven't been able to duplicate it. There's never going to be another Road Warriors. You can throw any guys on paint on their face and throw some football pads on them, and they're never going to be the Road Warriors.
And the
Never, and
closest
they'll
thing,
always be
the
compared to
closest
the Road
thing,
Warriors.
the closest thing you'll ever get is if Animal's son decides, hey, I want to get into professional wrestling.
Uh-uh. No, because Dustin Rhodes and Cody Rhodes are nothing like Dusty Rhodes. Nothing.
No.
oh, have you seen Rick Steiner's kid?
Yes, I have. And you know what? That kid actually impresses me.
That kid looks like his dad in his
Yeah.
prime.
If he wrestles like his dad,
Oh, he does.
then oh shit.
Yeah,
Now
he does.
that would be something.
He just lost the NXT title to Dolph Ziggler in a multiple in like I think it was a fatal 4-way because they want to move him. They got a rocket strapped on him up to the main roster. So they wanted to take the NXT title off of him before doing so. So they had Dolph Ziggler go down to NXT for whatever reason to be the guy to beat him for it instead of having one of the other NXT guys doing it. But since Triple H isn't in charge of NXT anymore, it's going to shit. But yeah, this kid, man, he is going to be something. I
Your
just wish
mic
they
is
would have let
sucking
him
up
use the
again, Rich.
Steiner name.
Um,
Your mic was sucking it up there for a bit, dude.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Let me switch mics, see if that helps.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll get Jason caught up. So far tonight, Jason, we've been talking about Scott Hall passing away. He had a broken hip or some type of hip injury, so he was having a hip replacement surgery, and blood clots went from his hip replacement. Like the damage that was done there got into his heart, and he had 3 heart attacks. They put him on life support, and he died, or they pulled him off life support, or he died. I can't remember which one. So he's passed away, and we didn't talk about his career. And then the guy, the Bootios guy, the big black dude that wears the tights, he uh he broke his neck in two different places, so he's probably not going to be able to wrestle again. And that's basically where we started off at.
Cool, man. Thanks for catch up. Yeah, I didn't know why he passed away. That sounds pretty crazy, though, man. To go from like hip surgery to blood clots. That's not a way for
well,
anybody to go. That's kind of crazy. But was it Monday night or Tuesday night this happened? Um,
Yeah, Sunday ended
Sunday,
Monday.
Sunday.
something came up on my YouTube and I clicked it and it was Hulk Hogan had just heard the news and he went to like some looked like a neighborhood bar or something and he grabbed a microphone and told everybody and they all had a toast, started having drinks. We're going to party the night for him because they said if Scott was there, he would party right with us. So, but that's how I'd heard about it. I just saw a little thing uh, with Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, it started Sunday and went into Monday. What had happened was back in the beginning of the month, I think it was March 1st or 2nd, he had slipped and fallen at his home and broke the hip that he had already had replaced. So he went in to have that repaired, and it took a army of people to give contributions to get that first hip replacement. By the way, if you watch the Resurrection of Jake Roberts video, that I believe is on Amazon, I think it's on Amazon Prime. They talk about how his family, Scott Hall's, started a GoFundMe because he was broke to get him to be able to get the hip replacement surgery. They were looking for $30,000. They raised over $300,000 in a day so that he could get that surgery. And yeah, it's just crazy.
That's nice of people. It's just a shame to. It's just sad that he died of COVID like that.
That's I asked Rich if he was hit with the Fauci sauce when I heard he had a bunch of blood
It's
clots.
2022. Nobody gives a shit about COVID anymore. They'll put it down as the actual cause of death.
Yeah, but
Huh.
I don't want to say it on your chat and get you banned from Susan Tube.
Oh no, we'll probably that tomorrow. We'll probably take care of that when I pull up the stories I got for that show tomorrow night.
But
But
yeah, that
Yeah.
I don't mean to be too much of a smart ass about it. Uh, yeah, my heart, my prayers goes out to his family. Um, I just assume he has children, right? And
yes,
Yeah.
a family nonetheless. You know what I mean? And sorry for him to pass when it's not like he lived his ripe old age and was just hanging on a hospital bed or whatever. This was hip surgery. You expect to be home and be on your feet in a few days. So such a shock, and I'm sorry to hear it, and I hope everybody goes through it okay.
I'll go ahead and swing the reality hammer. Uh, the number one lesson to be learned in all this is save your money and prepare for the future. This guy was a massive, massive superstar all over the world, and he died empty pocketed.
Well, no, he didn't die empty-pocketed. This was back in 2013, 2014 when he was broke. He had made money since then doing the touring the circuit and doing like signing shows and stuff like that. So he made his money back. But back then in 2013, 2014, because of his demons, his addictions got so bad, he just threw his money away.
It was the Obama economy.
But yeah, and then he was going in to get that hip surgery to replace the replacement hip that got damaged when he fell, and he was going under the knife, and 3 blood clots broke away from the wound area and went straight to his heart, and that was all she wrote basically at that point. 3 successive heart attacks from the blood clots, and he was on life support overnight, Sunday into Monday, and Monday the family decided to pull the plug.
I'll tell you what somebody told me back when I was about to have my back surgery last year is once you go under, there's never a 100% chance that you're coming back out.
Yeah, I've been there a few times myself.
There's no such thing as a minor surgery. If they're cutting open on you,
if they're knocking
no matter.
If they're knocking you out, there's no guarantee. You could be going under to have one of those telescopic things done in some part of your body, and there's no guarantee that you're going to wake up because that anesthesia may not let you wake back up.
So
it's happened.
I'm worse than that, man. Me and some other people in my family, we're allergic to anesthesia. Half of my real family has died over simple surgeries. My great grandmother died of getting an ingrown toenail cut out. Had uncles, other people die from simple stuff, and we're allergic to anesthesia. You put me under, and my temperature will skyrocket. I'll go 100, 101, 102, 103, 4, 5, 6, 7 dead. And they try to pull you out as quick as they can, and sometimes they can't do it. The only one time in my life I had surgery where they had to put me out, and they had to make up their own recipe for anesthesia to put me out. Well, I woke up in like 2-3 hours, and all my intestines and organs and everything didn't wake up for 10 days.
Yeah, there's people with that issue like you're talking about, and they'll wake up on the operating table in the middle of the surgery.
Yeah, I got medical alert bracelets and stuff, necklace is supposed to wear. I'm allergic to succinylcholine or something like that they put in anesthesia. That's why I can't have any pain medicine. I can't have any muscle relaxant. None of that, man. I'm extremely allergic to it as like death. Can't have any of that. That's why I've never had a pain pill in my life. And I just can't do it, man. Simple surgeries is a big risk for me. So that's why I just skip the doctor all the time.
Now, just, you always have to keep in mind that, hey, just because the doctor said, hey, you need this surgery, understand that he's going to do everything he can do to keep you safe, but there is never that guarantee. Never. That, once you go under, you might not wake up. It's a scary thought. Believe me, the morning I went in for that surgery, I was a wreck. Because you think about these things, hey, I might not wake up from this.
Yeah, tell me about it. I went through it as a kid having to get surgeries. I mean, you go in there and the doctor's telling you, I mean, that you're like, when I had my first surgery because the things that happened when I was a kid, I was 11 years old, if I remember correctly. And I had the doctor telling my mother, and I could hear him, that there's always a risk from that you don't wake up. And I'm hearing this. I'm like, I was nervous as all hell when I went in for that surgery when I got in there. And I'm fighting them because they wanted to do a IV. to get the anesthesia started. And I'm fighting them putting the IV in. I'm like, no, no. So they switched over and they gassed me to sleep for the initial, then put the IV in once I was in the OR because I was fighting them because I didn't want to go to sleep after hearing the doctor tell my mother that, you know.
Well, I tell you what, the guys there that morning when I went in, I remember having a conversation with them, and then I don't remember nothing but waking up 4 or 5 hours later.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, and apparently they had me doing some things while I was under, because you don't just fall straight to sleep. You sort of go into like a waking dream state where you're highly susceptible to suggestions. And I knew two of the guys that I was with that morning that worked at the hospital, and apparently they helped me to the bathroom because I apparently said I had to go to the bathroom, and let me march through my ass through the hall with a gown, my ass hanging out. So
There's
I
different.
heard,
What
oh
they
yeah,
do.
I heard all of this after the fact. They apparently had a great big laugh over it.
What they do when they put you under anesthesia for what they would call.
I don't know what the fuck they did. That's the thing.
I'm getting
I
ready to
was
tell you.
talking. I was talking to him. I seen a guy walk past. He messed around with the IV. They already had the IV in. The IV had been in for hours. He did something with the IV, and then after that, I was just gone.
Well, a lot of times when they've got you in the operating room, they're gonna paralyze you and put you to sleep. So there's a difference. Anesthesia is not just put you to sleep and get you all high till you pass out. They give you a bunch of high till you pass out, but they also paralyze your body. And that's why they got to sit there and pay attention to you, because you can wake up and still be paralyzed, or you could be not paralyzed anymore and then wait and but still not be awake. And if you're not paralyzed anymore and they're operating on you, you're going to feel all that stuff. It's just you're going to be knocked out and can't do nothing about it. If you're paralyzed and you wake up, you're going to hear all this stuff, smell all this stuff, and see all this stuff, and not be able to feel any of it or move. So that's the recipes that they've got to get right, is when they paralyze the body and put your mind to sleep, I guess you could say, or knock you unconscious.
Well, you got to remember, Ellis is from West Virginia, right? So his problem is that he had drank so much moonshine and hooch and stuff that by the time when he went in for the surgery, they were having to use multiple bottles to knock him out.
He's from West Virginia
It's like
too.
the Bill Cosby joke. It's like the Bill Cosby joke, you know. His dad goes in for surgery and he's telling him, "Yeah, we're gonna need another bottle." He's like, "Yeah, another bottle. No, not for the arm, for the mouth."
Yep.
No,
And yes, I am from West Virginia.
What were you trying to say, Jason? I didn't mean to cut you off, but I had to get the joke out.
You like the way you led into that. You're like, oh, well, Ellis is from West Virginia. Like, so are you, Rich? Right?
No, I just live here.
Where are you from right now?
He's like Squib, Jason.
Yeah.
Squib's from North Carolina, although he lives in Michigan and lived in Michigan forever. And hey, Squib.
Besides, I don't live in the mountain. Well, the whole state's in the mountains, but I don't live in the mountains.
It's just like the pot calling the kettle black, buddy.
No, there's different parts to West Virginia. Trust me.
Oh yeah. I was from southern West Virginia.
Yeah, northern West Virginia and southern West Virginia are two different things.
Yeah, it's two different worlds completely.
Where's the flat part at?
There ain't one.
You might find a flat patch in a mountain somewhere.
The flat part of West Virginia is just east of where I live at.
Not even there. Well, east would be the ocean, Kingpin.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's the only way you're going to find any flatness is on your way to the beach.
Hell, you Well, there are beaches in West Virginia on the lakes. Maybe that no, because they're not even flat either. They're still on a hill.
I mean, hold on.
They're on a hill
No.
going down to the water.
Nice.
Yeah,
We've
pretty
got.
much.
Yeah, I'm sure you've heard of Sandy Point Beach, Rich. If you haven't, when you get to the end, when you get to the Chesapeake Bay, the Bay Bridge takes you across the Chesapeake Bay, and on this side of the Chesapeake Bay, there's like ghetto. MKJ will know what I'm talking about. There's a ghetto beach called Sandy Point Beach. Only thing it's really famous for is that's where the police do their polar bear plunge at every year. That's not a beach. All you guys up there, and back to you, Squib. Your lakes that have got dirt before the water and some sand is not a beach.
Yeah,
Not a beach. It's not a beach.
I've been to ocean beaches. Lake beaches and ocean beaches are two different things, but they're still qualified and categorized as beaches. Especially
Everyone,
the Great Lakes. You go up to the Great Lakes, that's a damn sea, man. That is a freshwater sea. Those things are wicked.
just remember, everybody listening to this in the replay, Rich is comfortable with cheating.
That's not cheating, man. Have you
Cheater.
seen the Great Lakes? Have you
Cheater.
seen the Great Lakes? Have you been there?
Yes,
No,
Those
no.
things
I
are
have been there.
massive.
Yeah,
I have
Ellis
fished
lives
Lake
near there now.
Erie.
Yeah, we don't have a whole lot of even beaches up there at Lake Erie, man.
It depends
Got
on which part of
rock,
Erie you're at.
got
There are
rock and
some.
parking lot.
Yeah, your area. You get up in your area, yeah, Lake Erie's nothing but rock. You go,
By the
you
way,
get up
Ellis,
like
Well, like I said,
Sandusky and all that, and it's all
parking
you,
lot
you would,
right up to the water edge.
yeah, you would think like up near Cedar Point or something, they may have put a sandy beach in just for tourists. Nope.
Sandy Point doesn't have sand. That's right, MK Joe. By the way, Ellis, Jason's from Ohio, in case you didn't know.
I did not. But
Oh, it's
I remember going to Lake Erie and Lake Michigan as a kid to go fishing with my uncles. So yes, I know Lake Erie. Damn good smallmouth fishing.
Oh, some of the best lake trout fishing in the world's on the Great Lakes. You want to talk about pulling up a big trout while you're fishing? Go up to the Erie and go lake trout fishing.
yeah. They I don't know when he's last time up there, but night fishing's real good because some of the fish you catch will glow in the dark.
Hmm.
No, like around
I'm
Cleveland,
not.
maybe, yeah.
I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad one.
Around Cleveland, no, that's a very bad thing.
Oh, well, you people love your nuclear power, man. You know what I mean? So,
You know, Bubba, don't look at me when you're hollering about nuclear power. I was
Yeah,
raised on fucking coal and wood.
and
you pull,
actually, I mean, Lake Erie now, it's a premier walleye lake, right?
yeah.
If you go get your fishing license, they tell you right now, like their health recommendations, they only recommend one fish dinner from Lake Erie per year
hmm
to keep yourself healthy.
Yeah,
There's
it's more
just
of
too
a sport
much
fishing.
pollution and everything been poured into that lake, and
Yeah,
glow in the dark, one-eyed to three-eyed catfish. I mean,
there's
it's just a lot.
there's a documentary where guy, it was a scientist, right? They were I forget what they were catching, but they were catching fish out of Erie up there near the Cleveland area. He pulled a fish out of Erie and set it on fire just by putting a lighter up to it.
Yeah, hell, the river at Cleveland caught on fire one time.
No, more than once.
Yeah, the
It's
river.
happened more than once. The Cuyahoga River, yeah, that thing's
Yeah,
caught fire multiple times.
I mean, it's not bad like that anymore. I mean, it's really
No,
beautiful up there, but like you do, be careful. You don't want to live off of fish dinners up there all the time because there's nuclear power plants and everything else, and it's a little contaminated. Not that you can see it with your eyes, but you know.
yeah, going back to the beaches, you guys have seen white sand beaches, right? You know what makes up the majority of white sand?
Racist.
No. Fish poop. It's calcified or whatever it is, fish poo that makes up the majority of white sand. Think about that next time you're walking on that thing with bare feet.
Don't get sand in your mouth.
That makes sense though, because
Mm-hmm.
white sandy beaches are usually clear, warm water where a lot more fish are going to be. Like out in Ocean City, Maryland, I mean, you can catch fish off the beach, but you sure can't see the bottom of it. It's dark.
Yeah, the dark water when you're on the ocean, you can always tell where the deeper water is because the deeper the water, the darker it gets. Because it's like the river. You know why rivers are the color they are? Not because the water's that color. That's what the color of the bottom is. When you look, that's what gives the rivers their like brownish color to the water or greenish color. It depends on the foliage and the dirt content on the bottom of the river. If you go to that one lake that Rob goes to, where it's a rock bottom lake, that water looks crystal clear because the bottom doesn't have that dirt look to it like what a river would or what have you.
Yeah, our like a high power. It's down there close to you guys there at West Virginia. They strip mine, and it's basically quarries that filled up with water everywhere. Yeah, that water's like perfectly crystal clear. If the sun's just right, and like you hopped on a little John boat and you float out, you'd be amazed how many feet down you can see. It really is. I mean, I've seen trees standing straight up and drop the anchor in the rope as far down you can see, at least like 20-25 foot rope, and it just float right on by the trees. You can see all the way down there. You cast something down there, and just like a dozen fish come up out of the deeps, just just out of vision and attack your shit. But that water is crystal clear down there. It's all underground, spring fed. You know what I mean? So, like, this water's always on rock. It's not like on mud and trash. It's rock. And yeah, that water's perfect. And the fish are healthy and they're good eating down there.
Yep. Have a good night, Buck. He says he has to take off. So, yeah.
See you, Buck.
Yeah, but
What else do we have happen this week? We already talked.
last week during the pay-per-view, did Paige Van Sant and that other MMA guy get involved or not?
Yeah,
They did.
they did.
I
And
told you so.
Paige Van Zant also signed with AEW this week.
I told you so.
Oh, I knew it was happening.
Well, I told you she
been
was
on
going
there.
to get involved. I figured she was going to get signed, which is a big mistake.
Yeah, she's been on that show multiple times, so it was just inevitable, that somebody from America's Top Team was going to sign with them.
How did they get involved? Did they get involved in the match, or did they just talk trash, or what?
She started talking trash to the one wrestler while the referee wasn't looking, and her husband came up and hit him from behind. Yeah, we got two Ellises. They're multiplying.
I don't know what the hell happened. I got disconnected.
One of them should drop off in a second.
Instead of the Travi, it's the LSI.
No. Don't put us in the same sentence as Travi. Lord.
Well, that's still a thing.
Well, of course it's still a thing.
Not
I
as big as it
started that
was.
thing.
Yeah, it's not as big as it was though. I think there's only two left, unless somebody's changed their name.
Well, there's Midnight Range and there's Travis. So.
Did you see the video Travis put out with his dad?
I don't think I have.
Yeah, I guess he put it out this morning. He went to the range with his dad.
Yeah,
They shot a Beretta 92 there, Jason.
Oh Lord, somebody's trusting a
Oh,
Trav out of
nice.
the gun.
I trusted a Travi with cooking, so and I'm still here.
Have you done Midnight Show lately, Rich?
He hasn't had. He just last night or last week was the first time he'd had one in a while.
Yeah.
And last week I wasn't doing anything.
Shoot,
I've
man.
been out of action all week off YouTube. Remember, I got a brand new computer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, now I got two brand new computers,
Oh God.
but only one of them works.
That's always a good thing.
Yeah, I went and was upgrading the first one I got. I mean, I was just loving the thing.
What did you did?
Um, I went to change the processor,
You went to do what?
upgrade the processor, the
Uh,
CPU,
why?
because I wanted a different one, and I got a real nice cooler and fan and everything.
Okay.
And
Okay, I gotta ask this. What chipset motherboard do you have?
chipset,
That's what I thought.
570,
Five
59.
seven
I got the right chip to go with
five.
it, right?
Okay, you got AMD.
No, Intel, but
Intel doesn't. 570 is not Intel. 570 is
it's a
AMD.
H. It's a H or a Z570 or something. H.
Z570 is AMD.
No, this is H570. Anyways,
Sure, it's not H560.
no. Anyways, uh, I go to put the chip in,
or
and you,
Z590.
they got the little flip cage, like a
Okay,
mouse
yeah,
trap
that's an
type
Intel.
thing.
Yeah, that's an Intel.
Um, I did it wrong, and I didn't get it underneath this little bolt screw, and I moved the processor off of the pins and pushed it and clamped it down, I guess,
So
out of
you didn't.
alignment.
Okay, you didn't line up the arrows, is what you're saying.
And then well, it only fit in one way. It just got knocked out of place, and I went ahead
Yeah,
and clamped it down and put the cooler and everything on it. And when I hit the power button, I had the great big giant bolt of lightning from Zeus just zapped the whole thing, just blew the motherboard, just nothing, dead
yeah,
power.
yep. That's what's gonna happen.
Uh-huh.
Did
So,
you? Next question. Did you lay the computer down on its side, or did you do it while the computer was standing up?
I laid it on the side.
Okay.
See, I
Well,
had
this.
other problems too. With something else might have went wrong with this motherboard. I bought new memory and put in it, right? I put in 2 sticks of memory,
Okay. What memory did you buy?
Corsair.
No. I mean, what type? Is it DDR4, DDR5?
It's all brand new stuff. It's DDR4
Okay.
3200, right?
Okay. Yeah, that's
Just
the
like
right
it was
RAM.
coming out of it. Yeah, everything was right. I put it in, hit the power button, and it won't come on, and it starts beeping a warning buzzer. So I unplug it real quick, and I reach in and grab the RAM, and it's hot enough to burn you in
What
like
the
5
hell?
seconds. All right.
Yeah, there was something wrong with that motherboard from the beginning. If that's
So
happening.
I took the burnt one out and the machine, and then turned it on. Everything worked just fine. No matter where you put that other stick of memory, everything was fine. That one stick of memory was no good. So I sent it back. Well, I haven't sent it back yet because I got it off Amazon. I just told them, hey, that one's bad. They sent me another set. I put that set in. Everything's just fine. But man, I don't know what happened with that chip. I remember it kind of got knocked out of the way a little bit, but I thought I put it right back in right. I don't see how it would go even together without being in there perfect. But
Yeah.
anyways, I hit the power button and it exploded. Boy, I mean a spark.
Yeah, I know what
Killed
motherboard you're talking
everything.
about now. Yeah,
Killed
I know what chip that you're
everything.
talking about now. H5 it was if it wasn't an H560 or Z590 and it was a top line motherboard, it would have had to have been an H570. But there aren't very many of those. Those.
It's not a 460 because the 70 is like the ITX smaller motherboards.
No,
But
the chipset. The chipset's what I'm talking about. You got multiple chipsets for each CPU. Like Intel, it's Z whatever 90, then Z, then H whatever 70, and then you got the B whatever 60, and then it goes down to like a 10.
well,
And then in
anyway,
AMD you got the same thing. It's the whatever 70, then the 50, and then
so
you get the cheaper boards after that.
So, anyways, my new computer completely. I bought all kinds of shit to upgrade, and it's completely blowed up. Don't work. So this morning I drove 2 hours get to the computer store, and I bought another one, a little better one, and don't have to change the chip or anything on this. I come home, I put my memory in it, I put my cooler in it, my fans in it, put my hard drive in it, put all my new stuff in it. Works just beautiful. Everything's fine. And just a little bit ago, I got it done. I put a clean install of Windows in it, not the one that came with it with all the antivirus and advertisements and free trials. So I did a complete clean install, got
Yep,
everything up, all
that's
my
what you do.
drivers going, everything is fine. It's working perfect every way. It's good to go. But
Yeah,
I blew the other one all to live in hell.
yeah. But what Jason was just saying about doing a clean drive for anybody out there, if you know what you're doing, if you're scared in the least that you're going to about touching Windows or anything, then you're better off not doing it. But if you know what you're doing, a clean install is the best way because it gets rid of all that bloatware that
Yeah,
the
all that crap
manufacturers
in
like
the
Dell,
background.
HP, and whatnot put in there.
Ditched it all, man, because it wasn't too bad, but I just didn't want it when it was just as easy to download Windows 11 and put it on a thumb drive, stick it in.
Oh no, you didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jason's not me. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, I'd still on a if it's not a 12th gen, I would not have put Windows 11 on there.
Man, it came with Windows 11. It's a
Yeah,
This is 11th gen.
yeah.
11 that matches.
11th gen works better with 10 Windows 10.
It's working fine. I kind of like it. The the other one worked great and it played EverQuest perfect. But uh, I'm finally happy, man. It took me all day and a whole shitload of money, but I'm back in business.
Yeah. Windows 11 you're is a waste on anything. It's not a 12th gen, and 12th gen is optimized to run with Windows 11 because it has the 12th gen has like the P cores, which are like your standard cores, like what we're used to on a CPU. Where and then it has what's called efficiency cores, which are
P
like a
cores,
couple generations in power ago, and they'll handle like your background tasks and everything.
P
Windows
cores, P
10,
cores.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, this is something new that Intel came out with, and it only really works on Windows 11 with that processor. If you have anything less than a 12th gen, Windows 10 is fine, and it's still they're still going to be updating Windows 10 for years to come. Yet they've already announced that they're not forcing people onto Windows 11 if they don't want it, like they do with other operating systems.
What I like, one thing I liked about this computer, and I still like it. I can run Wi-Fi and my wired network at the exact same time.
Oh yeah, I'm doing that.
And I'm like, when I hooked on the video game, I set all the background crap that has to run. You know what I mean? I set all that on the Wi-Fi
Hmm.
and freed up the other one because when you're playing EverQuest, you're playing 6 accounts at once. It did all that. It doesn't even break a sweat, man.
Yeah, I'm doing that on my AMD system I got here. I got the Wi-Fi and the
Dual, dual, dual link or something it's called on this
mhm.
one. Dual boost or something.
Yeah, that's basically what it is on this too. Because even though it's an AMD, it still uses Intel's Wi-Fi because Intel's like the standard for the Wi-Fi thing. There's only a couple companies that do Wi-Fi, actual make the Wi-Fi cards that go the chip that goes onto the Wi-Fi card in your computer, and the main one that's used is Intel. It's like if you look on an Intel motherboard, you'll see where it says AMD on the motherboard in different places. At least one place on that motherboard is going to say AMD because there's components that AMD makes that are standard that even Intel uses.
Yeah, yeah, but anyways, I'm way behind on stuff. I've been found new computer to no computer to new computer again. I haven't had any chance to do any YouTubing at all.
Yeah. Well, once my daughter gets her next round of school money for her college, I gets to build her a new computer because her CPU fried itself.
And I tell you, I got a Noctua CPU cooler.
Oh,
and
those are
change
good.
the case fans to Noctua.
Did you
Can't
get the?
hear a thing. Can't
Did
hear
you
a
get the?
single
Did you get
noise.
the? Did you get the nasty brown color one or the newer black style ones that they have?
The nasty brown color.
Oh my god, that is such an awful color.
But I don't have a window. This got a solid side on. I don't have a glass window, so you can't see it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you don't have to look at the
Nah.
nastiness.
No, super quiet though. I thought the stock one, the case was okay. It was just the CPU fan.
Yeah,
The
Intel.
man, I ain't kidding you. You can't hear it at all. You put the door open. It's completely silent.
I think Ellis's dog is trying to agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, those fans are something else. Not only do they blow more air, you can feel more air off of them. They're dead quiet. Man.
Oh yeah, those Noctuas are. You can get Noctua case fans too. They make case fans.
Yeah, I got the whole setup, and they're good quality. I mean, they come packaged cool. They're great. Their stuff's packaged. They give you splitters and extensions and RPM limiters and just I mean the box is just full of stuff, for $15, $16 fans. The quality is just wonderful on it, man.
Nope, we lost Ellis. Hopefully he'll be back.
Yeah, I got a badass cooler, man. Got the kind with
Yep,
heat
there he is.
pipes and fins and it's cool as
Oh
hell.
yeah, they are. Any air cooler is going to have some amount of heat pipes on them.
I mean, the one it came with was just a stock aluminum circle with grooves cut in it, piece of shit. It did all right. It actually, when I gamed for a while, I checked the temperatures, they were fine. It's just a little loud, and I could just tell they was super cheap. They didn't put no money in this one.
Was it the stock Intel cooler, or they put a different aftermarket one?
The thing, this is one of those HP gaming computers.
Yeah,
They
that's why I
got
was
a
asking.
lot of proprietary
Proprietary.
stuff in them.
Yeah.
The Intels and the AMDs use a combination of both AMD and Intel for their coolers.
Yeah, you can. It's an aftermarket cooler. Then if it was just the Intel, you wouldn't be able to use it with the AMD.
Well, no, like no HP's mounting system, their back plates, their coolers.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's
Same
not.
one for an AMD and an Intel.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
To put,
It's not the Intel stock cooler that would have came with the CPU.
no.
They put their own one on there. Is what I'm saying.
In the Noctua fan that I got, I had to buy the good kit. It came with parts for AMD and Intel,
Right.
And you got to
you'll get that with any of them.
Well, you got to use a little bit of both of them for no matter what you do. If you got an Intel chip,
because of the way the motherboard is.
Yeah, you got to use parts from the AMD mount and the Intel mount. And if you got an AMD, you got to use parts from the Intel mount and the AMD mount. The standoffs and the brackets.
God.
It's a funky HP used pieces from both of them. So no matter which one you got to have parts for the other.
That's so you can't change the parts yourself. That's why. Because most people aren't going to stop to think, hey, you know what? If I take this and this, they're just going to look at this and be like, God damn it, I can't use this. You know what I mean?
Then he had to buy. It's a good thing there's YouTube. That's how I found out about it. Then none of the bolts, screws that they give you in either kit will fit.
Yep,
and work. So I had to order a little plastic box full of screws just to mount the thing.
Yeah, that's it. If you're going to buy a pre-built computer that you want to upgrade, this is why I tell people all the time, I wish you would have asked me first. Don't buy HP or Dell if you're wanting to upgrade.
Yeah, I thought about, even after I blew this up, I was just going to build a nice Asus. I went through, I've still not spent that much money, and I don't need any of the modern day video cards, and I'm not paying $800 for a video card.
Well, thankfully, video cards are finally starting to come down in price.
A little bit, but still, even a shitty one's $450. So I wasn't going to do all that. I'm fine with it how it is. It's completely updated and done right now. Works exactly what I wanted. I went through, I looked at hundreds of cases. I was down at Micro Center today, and like, man, some of them are really nice, and man, that beautiful and everything. Bottom line is, I don't need or want one of these gaming cases for these young kids. I don't need a see-through window. I don't need a bunch of lights to change and flash. You know what I mean? I don't need water cooling. I don't need all this high-powered crap. I'm real happy with what I got. That's why I went and bought another one just like it. And I kind of stole some parts out of even the broken one. So
Yeah, what CPU do you have? I don't think you.
the i5,
Okay, you got the 11600,
it's an 11400
11400.
F
Okay,
or
yeah,
something.
you don't need any kind of liquid cooling on that. The air cooler would be fine for
Now,
that.
this is the low voltage one.
Yeah.
It's in a little tiny case, little small case. Everything's fine, man. I'm happy with it, man. Works great. Uh, the other one did. This one's only been running for a little while, but it's doing a lot better than the other one did. But, 32 megs of memory. Got a gigabyte uh, MVE M2 drive for the front, a Samsung.
Hmm.
Uh, gonna This one actually came with an old fashioned hard drive, terabyte Western Digital, but I unplugged it. Don't want it. But
Oh hell, you know what? I would use it anyway. I would plug that in. Your data would go in there, like any documents were not. Put that on the platter drive. That'll free
well,
up space on your SSD.
I'm just gonna get another SSD and put in it. I don't want this. It's quiet, but still makes that hard drive sound, and it's just sitting there running in the background. I don't need it. I don't want that old technology, and it's blocking a place you get air at and stuff anyway. So I ditched it. Wasn't worried about it. Uh, the thing was today I drove all the way down there. I bought a refurbished one of the one that I blew up already, and
Hmm.
it came with a lot better stuff in it, and I got it for 150, 160 some dollars less than I paid for the other one.
Okay, now I gotta ask this because I'm looking at a PC part picker right now, just out of curiosity. You said you got the 1650 Super, right?
Yeah,
You could have got a 3050 cheaper if you buy a 3050.
yeah.
No,
That
that's
3050
crazy.
that 3050 card ain't nothing though,
Oh
man.
no, that 3050 card is good.
3060 is
No, the
3050.
3050 is too.
It
The
it
3050,
it doesn't
it did
even
not.
come close to a 2050. That 3050.
Oh yes, it does.
3050 is their low
The 30.
powered
No,
entry level.
yeah, I know. No, it's still that 3050 is not something to be sneezed at. It can do the job if you need it to.
I don't do it, man. I hopped on to YouTube or my EverQuest game with this one. Set everything at max
Oh, I know.
settings,
With
ultra setting.
EverQuest, you're not going to need a
Yeah, so I don't need
super
a video
graphic
card.
powerhouse.
No, I don't need it. Like EverQuest will play max settings, ultra settings on everything on like a 1050.
Oh, okay, you want to hear something crazy?
So I didn't need a video card. I didn't want to pay for
Yeah,
one.
here's an even crazier one. That 1650 I was telling you about, the 1650 Super they have. It's an ITX model, which means it's the super small one. It's only $4 less than a full size 1660 Super.
Yeah,
That's
prices are
crazy.
crazy. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I could have went. I was at the store. I almost bought a 1660 Ti, and they had 1660 Supers, and they had 2050s. Uh, they were all right at the high 300s, low $400 mark. I could have bought one, but I don't need it, man. I was happy with this one. Don't need it at all. I ran the MSI afterburner thing, and I
Hmm.
loaded up all six of my characters and was running around EverQuest, and I was only using like 1,700 megabytes of the memory on it. And I ran it for a long time. I pushed it. I was like back in like 60 degrees.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, this is all the card I need. I don't need nothing else.
Yeah. I was just just curious what they had as far as like the 16. I keep wanting to say 1660 because that's what I have. I have a 1660 Ti.
They got
The-
1660 Ti's. I think they ran closer to 400, but a straight 1660 overclocked. Um, 400 even, I think. 409.
At Micro Center.
Yeah, maybe it was three. They had a decent one that was still in the $300 range. I think
Yeah.
it was the 1660 Super.
PC Part Picker, they do your shopping for you. You just go where they say the best price is, and they're generally right. The cheapest 1660 Ti they have right now is $480.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not getting into all that, man. My whole computer, also, well, not counting the memory and the hard drive and the coolers and stuff. I'm looking at a $600 computer.
Yeah.
Uh,
Generally, your video card and your CPU are going to be the most expensive parts in your computer.
yeah, I'm good with it, man. I'm real good with it. It'll last me forever. This is like compared to what I had, what I'm doing. This is like Roswell technology, man.
Yeah. Now, there's one question I do got to ask you: what power supply's in there? Is it a branded one, or is it just an HP?
It's proprietary HP, but they're hard to change and get a hold of. It's got a 400 water in it, and
Oh
that's
man.
doing fine. To
Yeah.
get your hands on a 500 watt one, they're
So you can't.
expensive.
It doesn't adhere to any of the standards for power supply. That was what you're
Oh
saying.
hell no! It don't even have
This-
like 20-pin plugs on it. It's got like two 4-pin plugs and then the power for your video card on it. It's
oh my God,
proprietary
that's
as hell.
garbage. Yeah,
But you
that
can
is
get a
absolutely
500,
garbage.
but man, it's $130 or something like that. And they're back ordered. You gotta order them. Everybody got one of these computers wants one. But I pulled a trick out of the two. Like the one I bought today only came with like a 300 watt, and I already swapped it out to the 400 watt.
See, that's another reason why you guys I don't like HP's desktops, because at least the Dell you can put an ATX not motherboard ATX power supply in it.
Oh, well, there's guys on there that you can watch some videos. You can take an ATX and
It'll work.
cut some wires and
But
solder your own
yeah, but you
plugs
don't.
and crap.
Yeah, but if you don't know what you're doing, and with the Dells we always had, they were direct swap.
Yeah, but the thing of it is, I'm in the low range of money spent here. I could
Yeah.
have bought the Asus look great until you start adding all the little things up, and it starts to become double the price when you're all
Yeah,
set. Done.
the problem is with the power supply, that's the heart of your system. If one thing goes on that, you know how Scott Hall had the blood clots from his hip go into his heart and kill him? You're looking at that with your computer too. That's
Oh, it'd be all right. It don't even get hot. Didn't even get hot one bit.
Yeah, but yeah, we had power supply, a Dell power supply like that, right? That went on our one computer. It fried the entire thing.
Yeah, this little system with this video card on its full max and this system running, this thing only pulls like 230 watts.
Yeah,
So 400
but if
watts
you have a
supply is
thunderstorm,
plenty of overhead.
yeah, but you get a thunderstorm and you have a power surge. Even with a surge protector, it can fry that power supply. I guarantee you that power supply does not have the top of the line parts in it to protect that from happening. Because I've been
I'm
through it.
sure it's just an 80 plus gold is all it is.
I'm surprised it's even rated at that.
Yeah, it's 80 plus gold on the side. All the reviews never had said any problems about any of that stuff with this computer. Just if you just watch the models you get, some of them come with like a 300 watt, some come with 400. If you order one, you can get a 500. But because the chip takes so little juice and the motherboard on this thing takes so little juice, you can get a better video card and still use a smaller power supply than what the video card recommends.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at the YouTube chat now, and apparently we've lost a lot of people. Not that they've left; they just have no idea what the hell we're talking about.
All right, we'll get off the computers. R.I.P. Scott Hall.
God, yeah, we had been talking about.
Speaking of getting off, gentlemen, I'm going to jump out of here.
Yeah, all right, Alex. Good to see you again, man.
Yeah, Rich.
Yeah, have a good evening, Els.
Yeah. If you ever want a link, just let me know and I'll send you one over.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us, man.
I got my Python home the other day too. I haven't had a chance to shoot it. I've been polishing on it, but my fingers are sore. Uh, it's a nice gun. It's a nice revolver.
So what else we got to talk about since we were like we went all nerd? It's Clover's fault for not doing his nerd chats anymore. Well, even then, Clover isn't as up on the computer stuff. So
Here, let me try to do a share right here. Uh, there, is that sharing? Oh yeah, it's
yep.
sideways.
Yeah, you got to turn it.
I don't know how to turn it.
I don't know what you're using to. So there, some of them will have a little
Turn your
wheel.
head.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know if you're using Gmail or whatever, or I don't think you can.
Yeah, don't think I can flip it, but there's the grips I got on it. They were so tight, I had to lay a rag over them and beat them on with a mallet.
Or they're wood.
Yeah, yeah. Ordered them from Eagle Grips. Took them like 5 weeks to make them, and man, did they come out tight. Oh, they're nice. See, they got the finger grooves,
Mm-hmm.
and they're really thin. They are super thin. Uh, just makes the gun feel good, man.
That's cool.
That was
I,
brand new out of the box. That hasn't had any. That picture didn't have any polishing done to it yet.
yeah. No, there's no point in polishing my 627 since it's Mate finish anyway. I'd have to polish it up for the first time if I were to polish it. So I didn't bother. Just like, yeah, I'll just leave it Mate or Matt, whichever way you want to pronounce it.
Yeah,
Both
I don't.
ways are correct.
I don't know if I'll be able to get them grips back off without damaging them. I mean, they were tight going on. I mean, they went on, but then they wouldn't close all the way up. Had to beat them with a rubber mallet, man.
Did
And
you
I
see
mean,
the?
not just love taps. I mean,
Yeah.
smack the shit out of it. Don't even move taps.
Have you seen the picture when I had the L frame grips on my 627? Just because they sent me the wrong grip, so I put them on there just to see what it would look like if they would fit.
What made you think about beating on them with a hammer? Like, is that something that uh,
Yes, it's called
there's a
bone
lot of
twisting.
I don't know nearly as much about guns as you guys do, so there's a lot of times where I'm trying to catch up. No different than you talking about
Jason was
computers.
embracing he was embracing his inner Russian.
But is that like a gun guy thing? Like your grips don't fit on, so you get a hammer and start banging on them, or did you just
No,
go for it?
no, that
How
was
did you
Jason
come?
being Jason.
Nah, man, I know they were custom made. I knew they was gonna be once they started on, they were gonna be a little tight, and they just had like a 1/8 inch gap where they wouldn't close together on it, and it just needed some persuasion. That's all. They won't come loose. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, here's when I had the L frame grips on my N frame 627. They almost fit. This is the worst part. If I'd have like took the grinder or something or sander and sanded out just inside of here, I probably could have made them fit.
Man, I'd make him fit. Those are some nice looking
Yeah,
grips.
they were. They were really nice grips.
Uh,
And
here's
this
one.
was after you have to excuse the gun. We had just gotten home from the shooting range when they were there in the mail, so the gun's a little dirty still. It's not that dirty anymore.
Yeah, here's one for you, Kingpin. As you were shocked that I'd beat on them with a mallet, those were $200 and some grips.
Yeah, I mean that's just another thing. I didn't know that you buy a revolver and then call a company to custom make you a set of grips for.
Well, Altamont is a pretty good grip company, like a nice grip company, right? They made the original ones that came on it out of the box, and oh, they're nice too. Fit nice, just flawless, perfect, beautiful. I just wanted finger grooves, and these came out to be a little thinner. But all the other grip companies that I went to are completely out of stock of any Colt Python grips, unavailable, not in production, none of that. And I've heard of Eagle grips before because they make some nice 1911 grips. So I went and checked them, and they had them, and it was like 4 to 6 weeks to make them. And um, I asked them if they'd put nickel plated screws in it instead of the gold ones, and they said they would. And I ordered them, and they said they flagged my order, and they'll put the screws that I want in it, and let me know when they're shipping them. And it took them 5 weeks. To, I don't know. They're like, I guess it would be handmade. I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah. It was the same
It,
thing when I
it's the
when my
wood, man. These are like Indian
yeah,
rosewood or something, and like India rosewood's like super expensive.
yeah. But that waiting period when I got the my wife ordered me that custom grip for on my Shockwave because it's all made to order shit. That took almost 2 months for that to get here.
Yeah, I looked up for a minute. Like India rosewood is like they only grow it in a couple places in India, and it's government controlled. They only let so many
Mm,
families grow it and farm it, and they control it. And there's only so many exporters and stuff you got to deal with. So it's more expensive wood. It was $100 more than like regular wood, is what these grips were. But
yeah.
I just had to have them.
Oh yeah, that rosewood gets to be expensive. And I miss my rosewood base. Something fierce. That thing was beautiful. Those the grips I was showing you, those L frame grips, those were rosewood. Those were Altamont rosewood that were made for Smith and Wesson because they make Smith and Wesson's replacement grips for 'em, with the Smith and Wesson logo on them and stuff.
Yeah, my buddy's got a set of Altamont grips with the finger grooves and stuff on a Ruger GP 100, and I was interested in a set of those, but went to them and they were like unavailable at this time. So wasn't much I could do.
Yeah, share that again. Oops, but I hit the wrong thing. Okay, go back over here. But you can see those are the rosewood.
hmm Those are some really good looking grips, Rich.
I know, man. I wish they
I
would
would
have fit.
find a way.
Yeah,
Use a hammer.
they wouldn't work because they stopped right there.
Hey, come on, you
I would
ain't
have
got you. Jason's so much more two air
You
than
put
you.
you take the hammer to the trigger guard.
Yeah,
Leaves
but
you
I got a nice set of walnut grips on there now.
He
The
voted.
worst part is these were $150. The ones I ordered was like 100.
He voted for Biden, Jason.
Yeah, I bet he did.
Now I don't know. Even if I would have ground out or sanded out any of it, I don't know if they would have fit because again, L frame, N frame. N frame's quite a bit bigger. So I don't know if they would have fit if I would have tried modifying them. I don't know, which is why I eventually, because I thought about it. I really thought about it. But if you look back here on the spine, that the measurements wouldn't add up. You know what I mean? I would do it. I was so worried I would damage the finish or something, so I didn't.
A
I
file.
thought better of it. Yeah, I just
File
said,
that frame right off that, Rich. Cut it off.
no, that
Pop,
ain't
pop
that's
tail
like
the back of
I'll
that.
modify the grips. I ain't touching the frame.
If you bobtail the back end of that frame, you'll get farther hammer travel, and that'll be better. Ensure that it sets the primer off. You get that hammer come back a little farther.
I've never had a problem with that with that hammer. So no, I'm not doing that.
You file that baby back till that hammer hits the top of your hand, and
Uh
then
huh.
you're good to go.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll just leave it the way it is. Thank you. But yeah, those were pretty grips. I was mad they wouldn't fit, and then they wouldn't fit my wife's J frame either. So
Yeah, that's a shame. I try to find some grips similar to that fit that.
they don't make them. I looked. I looked.
Jason was able to find some custom cherry wood grips that he had beat on with a hammer.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but those were actually made for the gun he was trying to put them on.
Uh-huh.
So then,
Eat
did
that
he
red
or did
dot
he
right
not
off it.
find? Did he or did he not find grips for his gun?
Those were made for his gun.
Jason,
Yeah.
Jason,
These were not made for this gun, Kingpin.
did you
They're
find
different.
grips for your gun?
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure did.
thank you. So Rich could find grips for
Yeah.
this gun.
Just because the
No,
popular names
no.
ain't got them, don't mean they ain't out there.
Not everybody makes guns for the grips for the 627. Is the worst part, because I looked at custom ones and they didn't. They're like, "What's a 627?" They didn't
You
even know
got
what the gun was.
Ain't there some like Jerry mixed up
Yeah, but
Bickalickalitches?
you
Don't he
asked
got
the
some
people
like
at
grips for
Walmart.
that?
You
And
asked
I
the
did
people
not
from
ask the
Walmart
people at
Sporting
Walmart,
Goods.
Kingpin.
Amazon.com ain't got none.
Yeah. No, I was looking around because this is what I wanted. I wanted like a rosewood like this, but all I can find is like people that have like walnut grips and for that kind of
What-
stuff. For it. Nobody does like rosewood grips or anything for this.
Amazon's got 642 grips that say fits all Smith and Wesson revolvers.
Yeah, that's a lie.
what is this we're looking at right here?
This is a 627 N frame. The 642 is a J frame. You are not putting J frame grips on an N frame. They're not going to fit.
It comes
Oh,
with an
no
insert.
How many? What is it? There's J frame, M frame, and what K frame, right?
You got J,
L frame.
J, K, L. There is an M, but they're very rare. N, and then X.
X is like the 500 Smith and Wesson.
The 500 Smith and Wesson, the
End frames
460.
are traditionally like a 44. Right, it's the larger frame. The L frames are like my 686, kind of like a normal size big revolver, and the was it the M frame
K,
is the K. It's just a little. It's just a smaller size of the large frame. It's just slightly,
yeah.
just
The K,
slightly.
the
smaller.
K came first, which will be like your Model 19, your Model 10. And when the Model 19 was having issues in the 60s and 70s because of the metallurgy, they came out with the L frame to replace it because it was a stronger frame for 357 Magnum.
Yeah. K frame is like 38 special frame.
Yeah.
Except for like what the model 66s.
The 66 and the 19.
With
The 19, yeah, the 19 and the 66.
Yeah, that's a 357 on the small frame.
Yeah. And the remedy to issues they were having with the metallurgy, they came out with the L frame, which is just a little bit bigger than the K frame, but not by much. If you don't know what you're looking for, you may not even realize that it's a different size. The N frame, on the other hand, that's your 44 Magnum. That's the Dirty Harry, and the 357 in the N frame holds 8 rounds.
Yeah, well, that frame's like it's when I say bigger and larger, I mean it's like it's taller top to bottom.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Those are a big frame gun, man. Like
Yeah.
for 44 Magnum, it's big frame. It's if you got small hands, that becomes a very big gun. It's just tall.
This is my wife's favorite gun.
It's tall.
This Kingpin has met my wife. She does not have huge hands. This is her favorite gun to shoot.
Huh? Good for her. Ain't nothing like a 357, man. Everybody should have a 357.
Yeah. And everybody should have an 8-round 357.
I heard somebody. Who was it? Who did? What day is today? Sunday.
Yeah. No, Saturday.
Today is Saturday. So
Today's Saturday.
one of the shows earlier was talking about 357, and 357 doesn't have very much recoil to it. I don't understand how that's ever been
That
figured out.
depends on what you're shooting it out of.
Hot loads do,
Yeah, let
and
me tell you.
a shorter barrel's got plenty of
Yeah,
whip. But
this is the way my 627 looks now. These are the grips that are on it. This is my wife's old 642, which is a J frame, and they do make this size in a 357. Okay, so just pretend instead of being a 38 that this is a 357. This gun's recoil is in 357 is exponentially worse than this gun's recoil in 357.
yeah, I got 686 with a 2 3/4 inch barrel. A little snappy. It'll dance around in your hand a little bit.
Like this is a 342. The 357 is the 360, and yet no, thank you. The 38 special in the airweight in the 342 airweight frame is a pain in the ass. I don't even want to think about 357 in it.
Yeah, but like a 38 in these guns is like shooting a 22. I mean,
In this gun, not this one.
there's nothing to those, but a decent 357 round, like a hot 124 grain bullet that's screaming when it comes out.
Oh, this thing
Yeah,
eats them up.
they move around a little bit, man. Like
Yeah,
if you're trying to like shoot fast, some quick follow up shots, you're probably readjusting your grip.
yeah. You're
Because
in your 686. Yeah,
yeah,
your Python. Yeah, in this one, nope. This thing just eats that recoil because of the weight of it. A lot of people, the people don't realize, and I'm not saying you're one of them, Jason, but there's a lot of people don't realize when you're shooting a hot revolver load, weight is the biggest mitigating factor for that recoil.
hmm
The bigger the frame you shoot that round out of, the less recoil you're going to feel.
yeah, even on my 6 inch Smiths, man, you definitely know the difference between a hot loaded round and just a regular old plinker. You can definitely tell it. Boy, them hotter loads are awful fun, man. They really are.
What caliber is the new revolver you just got, Jason?
357.
Have you already started loading and casting for that?
I got everything I need. I haven't done any of them yet, but uh, I got molds. I got the powder. I got the primers. I got some factory bullets. Uh, and I got 1,400 brand new brass too for it.
Nice. What about what'd you start with? 9mm?
First thing I ever reloaded was 45 ACP.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you said
Uh,
45.
for a while now, well, since about the first of the year, I started stocking up on 38 357 stuff. Uh, I'm good to go.
Did you start casting yet?
No, I haven't been able to cast for a while, man. Uh, too busy at work, man. These weekends, I should have been at work today, but some of these weekend nights, man, I'm actually been working and not getting home till like midnight, man.
Yeah, I got off earlier than you did today. I didn't get off till 8:30.
Yeah, I was supposed to get my work to lighten up a little bit, and it's been getting crazy. Just I was completely caught up, wasn't behind at all on like Thursday, and then come Friday evening, I was 5 houses behind.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, but my boss in front of me, he's got one, two, three. He's got 3 workers and him. I got 4 of them getting something ready for me. You know what I mean? So like they're doing 2 and 3 a day on me, and the delivery yards have been delivering like they used to deliver like 1 house a day, and that's all we can do. They've been delivering like 3 houses one day, 3 houses the next day, all different neighborhoods. Everybody crying, wanting their stuff done all at the same time. Because I got to get done because there's painters waiting to just walk in there the very minute that I'm done. I mean, they're sitting there not making any money till I get done. I'm just a link in a chain, man.
Yeah, been there, done that.
Yeah, they got us screwed, man. They've been selling over 400 houses a year, man. There's only 365 days in a year, and like I've been kicking ass to try to get one house done a day. You
Yeah,
know,
working. Yeah, oh yeah, working commercial construction's what I did, and we were stuck waiting on on a job one time for almost a week for a concrete load to get there before so we could finish doing what the hell we were doing.
You gotta set the doors too, Jason.
right now, all I am doing right now is baseboard. My boss and his helpers are setting the doors. I'm just coming in as soon as they're done and running the baseboards, and that's all I'm doing right now. Baseboards and stair steps. We kind of we're kicking them out too. We're kicking them out as fast as we can get. You couldn't find any other carpenters to get them jobs done as fast as we do. Uh,
Do you gotta go back and install shoe mold, or you not? That's not your problem. You touch
uh,
bottom base.
no, I used to do shoe mold, but he's got a separate guy for that. A good friend of mine. He used to be my partner. Uh, he got kidney transplants. Took him years, and his health isn't what it used to be, so he can't work hard. So he took over and he does the shoe mold at the end once they get the floor done, which is good because shoe mold doesn't pay me enough money, and it's totally not even worth my time. I used to hate it and kick tools and throw stuff around every time I had to do it, anyways. So I'm glad I don't have to mess with that.
Yeah, I hate it. It makes everybody before that able to do a little bit crappier work than they normally should because the shoe molding will cover it and the trim will cover it. But I hate it. I, I paint a house, and then a week later I got to go back and remask everything to paint the shoe mold.
What I don't like about shoe mold is. Uh, like I am super fast. And I'd like to make a video show you how fast I do houses and cut wood and pre-cut stuff, and I got a hell of a system. Shoe mold is like long, skinny, stringy noodles, and you got to fight to put because I'm running like long pieces of it most of the time. For rooms, it takes too long to put a tape measure on it and stretch it out and the tape fall off or mess with it or cut it, flip it around and everything. It doesn't matter if it's a big heavy baseboard or whatever. It takes like the same time to cut it. But when it comes to shoe mold, the whole process just takes too long to cut it, and it just takes too much time, and it only pays me like not even a third of the money. So I'm just not interested in doing shoe mold at all.
Okay. Now, for some of us who don't know what that is, like I never did that kind of work. So, what exactly is the shoe mold for?
The little like along your baseboard covering your floor, it's that little quarter round. It's that little quarter round trim stick that covers the gap between your where you put your floor in and your baseboard.
Okay.
Just that little inch. It's only that little three
Basically,
quarter of
it's
an
like
inch.
okay. So basically, it's the floorboard equivalent, your baseboard floorboard equivalent to caulking your the walls of your bathtub.
It
So
kind of, sort of. It's the if you're looking at the baseboard on somebody's house, if it's got a little rounded like nub on the bottom,
Hmm.
that's shoe molding.
Okay.
but if you build a really nice house with like real hardwood floors, they're going to be sanded
Hmm.
and stained. You put the floors down first. Then you buy a real nice baseboard and you put that baseboard down on top of that floor, and you don't use no shoe molding.
Right.
Like if I go do $1 million house, it's not gonna have no shoe mold in it. That's the poor people's stuff. You know what I mean? Uh,
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It allows the flooring guys and the
You mean
trim guys
baseboards
to do
like
a crappy
that
job.
down there?
can't see his
I
baseboard.
can't even see it.
You're looking at the baseboard. See where that's plugged in? That electric socket is in the baseboard. That is a big wooden baseboard.
That's some big trim.
hmm And that goes all the way around the room.
Yeah, well, if there's a piece, that piece right below the light socket cover, if that's like all the way to the bottom
That's all the way to the bottom.
and it's rounded,
That's not.
I don't know. I can't. I can't
Yeah,
tell you.
I can't get my camera any closer. It's
That's
just
some
like,
nice. That's some nice old baseboard. You see the
yeah,
rounded part on top there, that
yeah.
style cupped out. Imagine another one of those at the very bottom, and
Okay,
there's your shoe mold.
okay. That's what I was trying to get some kind of visual for people to understand.
It just covers the cracks. Like you don't do it where there's carpet.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I was trying to get the camera as close as I could get it so people could see better. But
What it means for people like Kingpin and the painters is, I did the baseboard this week, and you come in and painted it, and then the floor guys will come in, and then I got to come put. Well, I don't do it, but shoe mold gets put in. Then they got to come back and paint just little 1 inch strip of wood all the way around everything. So they got to tape the floors all off. It's really a hassle for everybody. Mm.
yeah, but I mean, I you can see that type that goes. If I can remember how to.
Now in your hallway there, I can see shoe mold on the bottom of that trim.
Yeah, there's a little bit there. But, I remember how to get this to. There we go. So the way up, but yeah, see that thick wood baseboard goes all the way around everywhere. So
You know, wood. You know, even if you had the money around here, you couldn't even you couldn't even really go to the supply yards and buy that kind of trim.
yeah, look at that. Look at that fireplace.
My new houses don't even offer real wood anymore.
Yeah,
Suppliers can't even deliver it.
that's not paneling. That's boards. That
Can you guys see
fireplace.
my screen?
No, I got mine up. Hold on. Let me pull that down. See. No, I'm not. Yeah, it didn't even come up as wanting to show your screen, Kingpin.
All right, let me. Oh, okay. I hit that. There's one more button I gotta push. Hold on.
Hey, Chris from 74's out there. Hey, Chris, how you doing, buddy?
All right. Now it should be right there. It is. Okay. You see it now?
Yeah, I need to get. Let
There
me
you
get
go.
your software.
All right. The brown here is the hardwood floor. The big white piece right here is your baseboard. This rounded piece, which is called quarter round or shoe mold, is your
Okay,
shoe.
okay, yeah, I get what you're talking about now. Yeah,
You see how they got it cut right here so you can see
yeah,
stuff. You know, that's gonna wrap all the way around. Anywhere there's baseboard, there's gonna be some of that. Unless, like Jason said, it's on carpet. Or, you paid good money for your house and had good builders build it.
yeah. When not the price that we paid for this house and that fireplace alone, I was like, Jesus Christ, there's the value of the house.
Well, and don't feel bad. Everyone lives in a house that should be falling apart. I've been in the richest people's houses and I've been in the brokest people's houses. And everyone's house, including everyone that's listening to me right now, you're lucky that your house is standing. The people who built your house built a crappy, crappy house.
Oh, I tell you
Now
right
this
now,
thing,
mark my
this,
words. Around here in this territory, if you bought a house made after like 2006 or 7, you've bought a complete piece of junk. There's not a real piece of wood in that house from top to bottom. It is 100% press board, laminate, MDF, just the cheapest junkies you can get. I used to do houses with real wood doors, real wood trim, everything nice, even the windows. That is all gone. They are now is cheap materials, is low quality stuff that they can build from top to bottom, and they're getting $500,000-600,000 out of this stuff.
Yeah, this place is over 100 years old. So
Actually, the market is so crazy here. People talk about for years. Like, if you put your house up for sale for like 200,000, you'll probably sell it for 250,000 because there'll be people just willing to pay you more. I want the house, and this other person, no, I want it. It's been like that here for a while. The other day, some people did get some upgrades, but not that damn much. They bought a condo that usually runs right around $400,000, a small ranch, one level house, and they paid $750,000 for it.
yeah, you saw the woodwork. Would you believe we only paid 55 for this?
Jack it up, put it on a truck, bring it up here, drop it off on a piece of land. You get 200 grand.
And it's wood. It's actual wood cabinet too. Out in the kitchen, this kitchen cabinets are wood.
We just repainted a dude's house. He bought a townhouse for like, four or $500,000, and I mean it's a big place, but so are the 15 other ones that are connected to him, and the 45 other ones that surround him. And as we're going through doing touch-up work, we're showing him, there's cracks all through all out the place, and the floor is uneven. Once we start putting the paint on, you can start seeing where the studs aren't lined up and the walls are all wavy. And he's like, "Well, what can we do about that?" And I was like, "Oh, we could tear your walls down and rebuild your house for you." I said, "But if you go into any of these, 100 other townhouses in the neighborhood, they're all going to be having the same problems."
Oh yeah, the condos I build every day. Uh, some of them walls are so wavy. I always say they need to paint that ocean blue.
I've seen places like that.
So that's why I like what I do. We work residential, and most of the people that we work with are pretty chill. So you can talk to somebody. It's not like, unfortunately, like Jason, like he said, he's just a link in a chain. Nobody gives a crap what his opinion is. Nobody cares about what anybody else says. All they care about is hearing that hammer swing. And I don't have to deal with that. So,
See, the problem with the quality in our houses is there is no, like, the supervisor, the project manager. He doesn't inspect nothing. Everything's set up on dates and times, and you got to be there the day you're scheduled. So, like, the framers get done, right? Nobody comes in and checks their framework at all. Uh, Drywallers come in and drywall over that, mud it up, say it's ready for the first coat of paint. Nobody comes in and inspects the drywaller's work. Nobody comes in and inspects the painters. Nobody comes in and inspects my work or nothing. They just go, go, go. If it's wavy, it's wavy. If it's crooked, it's crooked. We have a deadline to give these keys to the homeowner, and that is the bottom line, only thing that matters. Quality is not even inspected, looked at, nothing. If the homeowner don't complain about something, it just goes, man. It just
Yeah,
goes. There's no, like I said, there's no double checking anything. I mean, they frame and build these whole things, and not one of them workers got a level in their hand.
yeah. I don't know how.
I've seen them build these houses without a carpenter square. I seen them cut a triangle piece off a piece of plywood and use it for a carpenter square to frame up, a $500,000 house. Nobody has a level. Nobody does anything. And, I've had them come to me before, like when I was doing doors, and they're like, "You don't use a level?" And I look at them, I said, "The last thing in the world you want me to do is put a level on this." I'll make you a level door, and you'll step back and it'll look crooked because the whole rest of the house is.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know how it is with commercial in your area, but again, I did commercial, and I was doing something, and then the supervisor comes up to me. He's like, go, of our work crew goes and tells me to go check the because these new guys had just finished putting on some siding on the building we were working. He's like, go check there because we were renovating a building, turning it into a home for mentally disabled people. He tells me to go check the siding. He's like, all right, I'll go check the siding that they did, see how they did. Because they just did like a short little 5-foot width wall just to see how they would do on it. Those sons of bitches couldn't have used a level. I'm eyeballing this thing, and I'm like, it looked like the Three Stooges put the siding on.
The thing here is, like, if you have a problem with framing or drywall or anything, if you don't know how to speak Spanish, you're not going to be able to talk to the worker and say, hey, that's crooked. Okay.
All our guys spoke English.
So they just, I mean, this stuff just gets winged. It gets built as fast as it can.
Yeah.
I'm not the only one under pressure. Everybody else is. I mean, like,
Oh
they
yeah, I
give
know.
every trade almost like one day to do their whole
Yeah,
work,
it just
man.
seems. Yeah, listening to
Plumbers,
you.
electricians, painters, carpenters, you've got to be in and out because tomorrow another guy's coming, and if you hold him up, man, they're gonna hit you
Yeah, listening.
300 to $500.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm listening to you talking about what it's like with residential construction. I'm thinking to myself, thank God I didn't go into that. With the
Jason,
commercial that I was doing, it seemed like we had a little more leeway than you did.
Jason's not necessarily residential. He's
That's
production.
what-
He's what you would call production.
yeah.
Yeah, I do residential, and that's where John Q. Homeowner framed his basement. And since I drywall and I paint, I got to make his crap look right. And his brother-in-law helped him plumb and do the electricity.
See, there's no used houses here. You can't hardly find a used house. It's been that way, and the prices are way high on those too. But you're kind of locked in to brand new homes around here if you want something. Uh, you're moving into a new neighborhood, a much better neighborhood, far away from the crime and everything. And that has its value also. But the demand is so high for these houses. You can't take the extra minute. You can't take the extra step, the extra mile, an extra little pry here, a little beat around with the hammer here to straighten stuff up. You don't have time for that. I mean, I we used to build real nice stuff. We can't anymore. There is no time. My deadlines are just too tight, man. We can't. So the homeowner is what really suffers, but 99% of them ain't smart enough to know any different. They're all excited about their brand new home and watching it get built so fast. They'll never notice that the ceiling's crooked or the wall's crooked or this or that till it's too late. They've done moved in.
Yeah, it just seems like that we had a more, even though we were on a deadline, because we still had a deadline we had to meet. It just seems like working commercial and building for like warehouses and stuff for companies. It seems like we had a more relaxed schedule than you did. You know what I mean? We weren't being as rushed.
Dude, that's why I work 7 days a week. Seven
Yeah, I
days a
know.
week don't even keep me caught up, man.
Yeah,
Tomorrow, I have to actually go do 2 jobs. I have a house that is completely cut, and all I have to do is nail it. And then I got to drive about an hour from there and do a small ranch start to finish.
yeah. We worked 6 days a week, sometimes only 5 days a week, but we worked from sun up to sundown. Still like what you guys do, but
See, that's the other problem,
but
too.
but we weren't as rushed on the job as what you're saying you are either. When we were there at the job, we were able to go to more leisurely, not like we were slacking off or anything, but we weren't rushing ourselves either. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I showed up to a neighborhood just the other day that I got 2 house numbers. Go do these 2 houses. I showed up and I had the 2 numbers, and I look across the street. My boss is at another number, and I walk in there and I look at him. I said, "So what? Is this the third one now for this neighborhood?" And he's like, "Nope, this is the fourth one, and we're leaving here and doing 2 tomorrow." I'm like, "Oh, great."
Yeah, Jason's line of work is, how can I put it? It's pretty cutthroat
Mm-hmm.
because they'll, you know,
Yeah, if I don't get this done,
pack your stuff, Jason. Goodbye. We'll get Manuel to
yeah,
bring 3 of his cousins over here and do 7 houses in the next
yeah,
5 minutes.
exactly. It's not Jason. It's like my boss and his workers, like who
Mm-hmm.
it's coming down on. If we are the only carpenters that do this whole company, that's it. Every neighborhood, we are the only ones in Central Ohio, and if we fall behind, they will call and bring in somebody else to eat off your plate. And they have took over every single trade there is. And if you let the Mexicans come in and eat off your plate, they'll eat your whole plate and you'll be hungry. They will
No,
find a way to take your jobs right out from under you. They underbid you. They'll send, like I said, 10 guys down there when you only got three. And it doesn't matter how good their work is, it's how fast it is. And they will run you right out. They've took over every single trade from the concrete to the framing to the siding to the drywall to the painting. They have completely took it over. Not that they ain't great people and they ain't hard workers, like they are, but just the nature of this game. If they come in on you, they'll run you right out, man.
now
They
how long
they
has this?
they suck at it. I mean,
Yeah. How
just
long?
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just making sure that, I mean, that's where like a guy like Chris from the 740 comes in, and a guy like me comes in, is when these uh, big bands of immigrants come through and build a neighborhood in 15 minutes. I come in over next year and fix everything that they messed up.
Yeah, I was gonna say you come in and fix up everything that they fucked up in the first place.
Yeah, I'm all my side work right now. I've got a neighborhood of, 3-4 million dollar houses. There's probably 6 of them in this neighborhood, and all these people said, "Quit your job and just work for us. Just work in this neighborhood." And I know 3 or 4 of the Mexican crews that built those houses, painted those houses, and trimmed all those houses. And I've been doing nothing for the past 2 years except for going through and fixing it all. And that's just me on the side. That's not counting like all the construction workers, like my boss and, like I said, Chris, out there who's fixing all the plumbing that somebody else screwed up.
Yeah. How? Just out of curiosity, how long has that been the situation that been going on that long like that, Jason, in your area?
Ever since I started this business, 20 years.
Yeah, easy,
Easily,
easy.
easily. That
Maryland's
I know of 20 years. There used to be, not to sound, racist or anything about us, I don't know how to phrase it any better, but all these trades used to be American workers, okay? And they
Mm-hmm.
were good jobs. Like you get a concrete job, you know what I mean? That's a good paying, hard working job that pays good, or framing or whatever. That all got took over by them. Like the framers about 15 years ago, they would frame a house. They could get it done in a day, day and a half, but they had like 7 or 8 guys out there making a good living and doing good work, and they were getting paid like 16,000 a house to frame it in like a day, day and a half, and nonstop. It's not like there tomorrow. There's already another house waiting, and tomorrow. So these framing companies are pulling in like 15 grand a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're employing a good number of guys to show up here and work. Uh, the framer, like I said, you only get paid once a month. So like he done, let's just say 30 houses, and they dropped the price down to like $13,000 instead of like $16,000 on him without saying anything. And when he goes and gets his check, he's like $90,000 short. He's like, "Where in the hell I want my money?" Oh, well, we lowered our prices 13. He's like, "Well, I can't do it for 13." And the very next day, there was Mexican framers out there now, and instead of it being like 6, 7, 8 American guys working, you got 3 of them don't even show up with their own truck, get dropped off by another truck and their tools laying on the ground, and go frame that houses. And those three guys are getting that house framed in a day, day and a half, and that company's still raking in, at the time 13,000. Today's dollars is probably $20,000, but yet there's only three guys that they're having to pay to do it. And they've just done every single industry like that. Like the concrete guys used to show up, it'd be a dozen. Now it's just three or four of them, but yet the price that's getting paid for this work to be done is still up there in the thousands. And they just stole all our jobs away, man. They just took them and stole them, man.
Yeah, I
They've
wonder
done
how
it for
many.
every trade. They've undercut us. That's why I only work for the condo companies now. I used to work for the condos and two different large home builders all at the same time. We lost the houses because the Mexicans come in there and straight underbid you, $1,000 a house. And if you're doing, at the time back in, 280 houses a year with, that's $280,000. Now, you can be friends and all and work for somebody for a long time, but when you get to put 200,000 in your pocket instead of paying it out, that cuts a lot of ties, man.
Yeah, I
It's,
got out of it over 20 years ago, so it's probably changed a lot since I was working in it too with the commercial on the commercial side. So
it's a
when I
lot
was,
different.
yeah,
Oh, go
when
ahead,
I was,
Richard.
yeah, when I was doing it, there wasn't a single. I didn't that ever came across a single Mexican. There was one Guatemalan guy that worked with us, but he was part of our crew, and he was a legal immigrant and everything. He'd come over when he was, God, I think he said he was like 13 when his family immigrated to the United States.
Now we have, so see, there are some trades that are just kind of like around here, different groups of people kind of have a lock on that. Like the Mexicans get a lot of the framing and the drywall and everything, but when it comes down to ceramic tile and tile work and stuff like that, the Koreans kind of got a lock on that around here. And some of them are pretty slow, but some of them are like super fast, super good, do more work than 2 or 3 men at once. Even old women packing in stacks and stacks of ceramic tile, carrying them on their behind their backs and stuff. They work themselves to death, man. They have more work in them than these American kids that won't get off their ass. That's for sure. But they have a lock on that
Well,
pretty
hell,
much, man. They,
for
the it, you kind of got to have a little bit of to do ceramic tile and do it nice and do it fast. You got to really have some skill and know what you're doing.
yeah, these kids, man, the past few years they haven't had to get up off their ass and do anything because the government was going to send them a check for more than what some people were making doing their damn job because that stupid COVID shit. And now you got fast food jobs in some states pay more than what my wife fucking makes doing goddamn medical work.
Arby's, where I go to at over here in New Albany, has had signs. They're paying like 18, $19 an hour
Yeah, Defense Dad, the
at
one we
Arby's.
done.
And
Yeah,
then get this: you ever heard of this? We're not talking about out in the country. We're talking about dead smack in the middle of like 2 million people here. You ever heard of a fast food restaurant like that closing at like 6 o'clock at night?
no.
Burger
Arby's down
King.
here closes at 6 o'clock
Jesus.
because they don't have the workers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
At $19 an hour to slap some roast beef out of a tin can under a heat lamp, $19 an hour, and they can't get enough workers to keep the restaurant open.
yeah. Defense Dad was saying where he's at in Nebraska, they were offering up to 20 or $21 an hour at their Arby's.
there's a couple
Insane.
places around here that closed early because they didn't have enough people to work. The difference in the trades, like Maryland, and Maryland's been going through it for 20, 30 years. When the Mexican started coming through and taking all the work, one guy would show up and say, "Yeah, I'll paint your house for $500 less than that guy will." And we're like, "Okay, cool." And he brought 15 guys with him, and they got 15 people running all over the house So the one dude would make all the money and just pay, piddlings to everybody else. And then that caught on because you could get a whole bunch of dudes to do a whole bunch of work real fast and, for a whole lot cheaper. That went away. That only lasted for maybe 10 years, maybe 15 years, I guess, maybe if that. Now, that same guy charges more than what we do and still brings the same 15 guys with him and gets it done in an hour. And then, like I said, a year later, I got to come back and fix it all. So the it's not that they haven't pushed people out of jobs like regular American citizens out of jobs, but now they charge more and still get a whole bunch of work because they got 15 dudes that'll get it done in 2 hours instead of 2 days.
I hate to dive deep into it, but just to let you know, it's a lot of the workers that are here because there is some form in some way, some kind of connection and help from the cartels that get them here, man. Uh, I'm not going to get into some things I know that people do and their family does or whatever, but it seems just like some new people can show up that you've never seen before. You can tell new people that's here, man. That's new to this country. You can tell. You can just tell by how they act. They don't speak a lick of English in their clothes and everything. They're just fresh getting here. Somehow they are made it their way to my point of part of America, and they just start a job and they've never had any experience before, and within no time at all, uh, they have a brand new $70,000 pickup truck full of tools are coming to work in. You know what I mean? All of them have their own little connections here about getting vehicles, getting places to live, getting license plates for their vehicles, all kinds of stuff, man. The, the people just ain't migrating here free. There's some cartel connections, all of it. So I'm sure they got their
Huh,
fingers in the money that these guys are making every day.
I can tell you for a fact that Jason's telling you the truth,
Oh, I know.
but I'm going to let you, and you're going to agree, obviously, Rich, because you're up on it. The state of Maryland is far, far more dangerous than any cartel. And we welcome illegal immigrants from all over Earth as much as we can get. Our Maryland's government has destroyed this place with illegal immigrants. So
Yeah,
it's not just El Chapo, it's El Larry Hogan.
yeah, it's crazy, man. You go across the border, you go from one of the states with the largest population of illegal immigrants to one of the states with the fewest number of illegal immigrants. At one point, we had the fewest in the country here in West Virginia. And you're talking just miles apart. Not like 100 miles. We're talking just across the river.
Now
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not
that's
totally bad
saturated.
mouthing them. There's not any of them that I come in contact with daily that aren't extremely nice people, good people. They're just like me. They work all the time. They work 24/7. They don't even have time to go start no trouble with nobody.
Well,
They
and
don't
most of
want
them
no
dudes,
trouble, man. They are here to work and they work their ass off. So, like, it's really hard for an American worker, especially like a young person, to get out in there because the competition and the availability of jobs is just overwhelmed by them. You know what I mean?
well, the average dude swinging the hammer or doing the menial job, if that, as they would say, is actually being abused quite bad because he's going to work 15 hours today, get paid for 7. Then he's going to go home to a apartment with multiple different people living in there and pay probably $400 a month rent for a $800-900 a month apartment that 7, 8, 9, 10 other guys are paying for. And he's going to eat at 7-Eleven all day, every day, because that's the only place the ride will stop. So those guys, I mean, it's, a lot of those dudes are getting abused pretty hard too. The dude
Yeah,
that dropped everybody off, he's doing all right.
the worst part is they don't care. I'm not. I mean, not that they don't care. They don't care as much. Let's say because if they were back home, it would be worse.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, a lot of them just so happy to be here and do something, especially the younger kids, man. Like you tell them to like go get this or grab that or board or move it or do anything stuff. Like they're just like happy to do it, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
you know what
they
this,
are.
you know what this proves. You know how the left's always saying we're one of the worst countries in the world. The fact that all these people are wanting to come here and do these jobs and sneak across the border illegally just on the hope that they can find something shows the exact opposite to be true. Because obviously where they're at's a hell of a lot worse than what it is here. If they're willing to go through all that shit,
Well,
Yeah,
plus we got a bunch of nincompoops that
yeah, man.
bait them to come over here anyway.
Mexico's actually a hellhole, man.
Oh yeah.
It's got its vacation
That,
places and
well,
you
even
think,
those
oh,
places
they're
are
all
turning
great.
into hellholes.
Everything else is a hellhole there, man.
Yeah,
And it's a lifestyle that we couldn't even imagine. I mean, we bitch and talk about tyrants and tyranny, and we won't put up with that here. That's all Mexico really is.
yeah, but even the vacation spots in Mexico are getting bad. I don't know if you guys saw because of all the constant shit about Ukraine and stuff. There was just a goddamn cartel fight outside of Cancun where you had people getting killed and tourists were
Oh yeah,
in the area where the fire was and everything. So even there, it's turning into a war zone.
yeah. You go to the vacation places, you don't leave. You stay there. You don't venture out, especially by yourself, man.
Well, this was at one of the vacation spots. Is the worst part. That's what I'm saying. Even the vacation spots are turning, or the cartels are starting to fight in there.
There's like 6 other wars going on. They talk about human casualty and Putin bombing civilian places. There's like I don't know 3 or 4 different places in Africa where the only people that are getting attacked are civilians. Like the militaries aren't fighting each other; they're just going in neighborhoods and slaughtering people, and nobody cares about that.
Yeah, yeah. Africa does have
No,
some crazy shit going on there. Like I
well,
said,
it's like the Middle East, man.
nobody
These people
bats
are
an eye.
always fighting. It's like I think that's why people don't care as much right now. They're conditioned to expect that in those areas because every
Yeah,
time you turn on the news back in the, as far as I can remember, as long as I can remember, there was always somebody fighting in Africa. There was always somebody fighting in the Middle East.
yeah. But to make Kingpin's point, yeah, there in Africa though, it's a lot of suffering of the common everyday person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then when these people do get the tyrants out, they put another one right in their place, and they go through the same thing all over again. If you look at the history of Africa, this is just like one big cycle of shit.
So, what's been going on over there with Putin and stuff, man? I haven't heard of where. I just know it started the day it
All day,
started. How's
he's
things going?
well. I don't know if you guys saw. Well, this was something I was going to talk about tomorrow night, but there was a Fox News had 2 journalists killed by Russian troops.
Oh, really?
Did
Well,
you hear the story about the journalist that was shot in the neck by the Russian troops before the whole Fox News thing came up? He supposedly worked for the New York Times.
No, I didn't hear about that one.
Yeah, you know why you didn't hear about that one? Because there was some shady stuff going on about it, and the guy ended up being a CIA informant, not a New York Times employee. So conveniently, like 2 or 3 days later, an actual Fox News employee gets blown
Two
up.
of them.
Yeah,
Two of them were shot.
the second one died. Yeah, but only one of them died.
Yeah,
oh, so
no, there were three that were
conspiracy theory then?
shot. 2 of them died. One survived.
Okay.
Well, you can't have a conflict without a conspiracy theory.
I'll give you the straight dope on Ukraine. Putin bad, Ukraine good. Move on to the next thing that they tell you to care about.
Well, the main thing about what makes Ukraine such a big deal is this is the biggest armed conflict in Europe since World War II, which it is. This is the largest conflict in Europe since World War II.
I thought Russia would have handled everything by now. I mean,
Oh no,
they're
they're
a good
fighting
fight. Are they
as
like
far as
holding Russia
territory.
off?
Yeah, they're holding Russia off to this point.
Oh,
All
I
right, let me see if we're on the same page here, Jason. All your life, you've been told that the Russian bear is got their finger on the end of human civilization, and nobody wants to mess with Russia. Am I kind of close on that?
well, yeah,
Y-
superpower, the Cold
Yeah.
War, USA,
Okay.
USSR. Yeah.
Okay. So we've been told that Russia, Putin is the most evil, dangerous person in humanity, and he's bloodthirsty. And he's been fighting this war against Ukraine, who doesn't even have a military, for
Oh,
like
they
a month
do.
now.
Yeah, they still got military. It's that the problem is how long is Ukraine going to be able to hold out?
Rich, you're telling me that 80 year
Yeah,
old
there's
grandmas that the that
no, they're still got
the,
they
the,
still
the,
got
the
air they still
comedian
got air
president
assets.
the
There's
comedian president put an AK in an 80-year-old grandma's hand, and she's holding off the giant Russian army.
they still have actual Ukrainian military, Kingpin. There
I,
actually
I'm
are
I'm aware of
Ukrainian
that.
soldiers out there and stuff, and there is still a Ukrainian air force. The
You're like
problem is
your local
no,
high school football team
no,
could kick the
you're
crap
missing
out of
what
them.
my point was. They're holding the Russians back to this point, but they're not going to be able to hold out forever
My point is Jason's point. How come this massive, destructive, bloodthirsty Russian army hasn't wiped them out in a day?
because they're not as big and bloodthirsty as what people thought they were.
Right, so there's lie number one. So why wouldn't lie number two be that the Ukrainians are standing up against the Russian bear? I don't think that 99% of everything that everybody's been saying about this Ukraine stuff is not accurate. It's Hitler Putin ain't really the bad guy in all this. And when you start looking at the fine details, like
Uh,
you stand with Ukraine, then you're standing in a pretty nasty spot.
Well, let's put it this way: neither Russia or Ukraine are exactly not corrupt.
When is Hitler Putin gonna come out with Hunter Biden's laptop?
Oh, they've already verified the laptop is real. Finally, I don't know if you saw that.
Right, but
They've already gotten to that point.
Hunter himself said that the Russians keep stealing my laptops. So if the Russians stealing his laptops,
You're talking
Putin's
about
got
the
the
guy that
laptop.
smokes Parmesan.
Well, that's what I mean. Any laptop stolen from a president or what it was, Joe, a senator's son, a vice president's son. You don't think Vladimir Putin's got a Rudy Giuliani's got a copy, and Dan Bongino's got a copy of the laptop that we have. And Hunter said that there's been multiple times that the Russians have stole his laptops. So Putin's got one of Hunter Biden's child porn laptops.
Well, so does the New York Times, who just verified that it's real.
Yeah, after they verified that it was fake.
Yeah,
Yeah. Once
yeah.
again,
Now that the election
Not a
is over,
shred
they
of
verify
evidence.
that it's roof. It's funny. After the election, during the election, oh, it's another story. It's another story. It's not real. It's not real. Now all of a sudden, boom, it's real.
just like that's my exact point.
Yeah.
Is the news that we all hate, the politicians that we all hate, the sports stars and the movie stars that we all hate. Now we pay attention because they're talking about standing with Ukraine. Just like when the COVID hit, 5 seconds before COVID hit, everybody hated the news and everybody hated the politicians and the sports stars and the movie stars. And then when they told you to get scared of COVID, everybody said, "Yep, we'll do exactly what you tell us to." Then we got mad at them for COVID, and then they said, "No, no, come over here and stand with Ukraine." And we said, oh, "Okay, we'll come stand with Ukraine." So the same people who are telling us about Putin and Ukraine are the same people who've lied to us for the past 100 years.
Yeah, the news has been lying to us all along forever, and we know not to believe any of it propaganda. But it's right. We'll never have the real story of what's going on over there.
It's amazing. Guys like Mark Levin and MK Joe will know. Chris Plant, uh, Tucker Carlson is what he is, but at least he's not got blood dripping from his lips. You listen to guys who are supposed to be common sense, normal, like this Mark Levin guy. You usually got a pretty decent amount of respect for Mark Levin. I like to listen to what he's got to say sometimes. He's dying to go to war with Russia. What are we talking about here? The people on the conservative radio that I listen to are all they act like they're dying to go to war with Russia.
You know who the one
War with Russia.
you know who the one conservative voice that I listen to on a regular basis who hasn't called for war against Russia is?
Me?
No, not you. I'm talking about the bigger channels or
I
celebrities.
mean, what are you trying to say? I mean,
you know, people with like millions of followers, Kingpin. Not, no, honestly, you know who the only one, the big celebrity, I guess, pseudo journalists that hasn't been calling for war on the right is?
Avi, I mean, the
No,
Israeli guy that lives in Australia.
no, I don't know. Has he or hasn't? Because I haven't seen anything from him lately, so I don't
Yeah, I
know.
haven't watched this stuff in a while, so I don't know. No,
No,
Dan Bongino, I think he's got a little bit of that. Let's go to war, and I
yeah,
think
no. Steven Crowder is saying the opposite. No, we don't want to go to war. If
Nah.
you watch Crowder's show, he's constantly saying, "No, we don't want to go to war. That neither one of these sides are good. We don't want involved in this."
Yeah, this ain't none of our business, man. This is like a family squabble. Uh, you know, it kind of technically is, one country fighting for their freedom and their independence or whatever, but it's still kind of like their own business over there, man. Uh, if a country's truly come to us, like we needed help from France to defeat England, you know what I mean? If countries fighting for their independence, sure, you might. I'm good to go, man. We need to help them, but this one, man, this is like a family squabble, man. This is like two brothers. You just gotta let them fight to keep your nose out of it, man.
this to me sounds like globalism. And I hate to. This is just a theory, so go ahead and yell at me later. It sounds like the communist is gonna fight the globalist, and I'm rooting for the communist.
Well, the
'Cause
communist global.
everything about Ukraine stinks really, really bad. And every time I hear Vladimir Putin or that one blonde haired chick come out, they start saying a whole lot of logical, level headed stuff.
Oh my God! It, well, wait, are you going to be on the show tomorrow night?
I don't know.
Because I got a topic that goes to that point, and yeah, when I heard when
I'll
I
go ahead.
heard this,
Let me
I about fell out of my chair laughing.
let me go ahead and throw the disclaimer out there. I'm not a big fan of Vladimir Putin in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, nobody's saying you are.
But
But,
unfortunately, well, you know how stupid people on the internet that are going to listen to this a year from now and leave you a nasty comment about how stupid you are and how wrong we are.
Putin lover.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Or, Joe Biden's listening right now and the feds are about to kick in my door because I'm, you know, disinformation pro Putin. But it sounds like the communist is going to fight the globalist, and hopefully, hopefully the communist wins.
well, the problem on that front, the globalists and the communists are the same people.
Well, obviously, I mean, but right now the globalist communist that's odd man out is Vladimir Putin, and if I have to choose between the political persuasions of Joe Biden and the political persuasions of Vladimir Putin, I take Putin. Now, if you're asking me to choose between America and any place else, no. I mean, clearly America all the way.
Yeah,
Dirty, down, cheat. I don't care what we got to do, but I don't want to be globalist. I still want to be America.
yeah. You ever met Vladimir Putin?
Nah,
I actually had dinner with him once. He's not a Russian. He's Lithuanian by birth. He was a fisherman.
Are you sure you're not talking about Marco Ramius? Anybody's, yeah, not for October.
Yeah, had dinner with him. Me and Hillary.
Okay. Okay, Jack.
was Gaddafi at that dinner?
No, I don't think Kingpin gets the reference, Jason.
It was Red October, man.
Yeah,
Red October.
I only saw about 15 seconds of that movie.
Uh,
Seen it. I read it. I read the book.
that's when the dude was like, Man, he slammed the door pretty hard on the general, Jack. Yes.
Mhm.
But I'm a politician, so when I'm not kissing babies, I'm stealing their
Stealing their
lollipops.
lollipops. That's probably Alec Baldwin's best movie. I'm sorry.
You know
Uh,
that there's Nazis in Ukraine, right?
Oh, I'm sure there is.
When Vladimir Putin first came out and said that he was going to go denazify Ukraine, I laughed my head off and I was like, man, he's really, really sticking it to America because I thought he was making fun of us because everything's Nazi over here. But there's a contingency of the Ukrainian military, or not the military, the government, that are Nazis. Like, I'm not talking about like Nazis like everybody in America's Nazis if you don't have blue hair and a nose ring, but like National Socialist Nazis. They did an interview,
The
and
Fourth Reich. Yeah.
yeah, they did an interview where this guy was like, yeah, we're the ones that set up the coup and put this comedian actor in place. If it wasn't for us, they got swastikas and all kinds of everything.
well, the Nazis made their trains run on time. As long as they ain't doing the eugenic shit.
Uh, yeah. The among other things they don't need to be doing.
Well, just watch.
The
We,
ethnic cleansings.
Well, that's
we,
the eugenics, Jason. That was all part of the eugenics program.
yeah, thanks, Margaret Sanger.
Yeah, I really don't care for like the Pollock jokes and stuff because like my grandpa died in one of those concentration camps. He fell out of his guard tower.
Anytime we bring up anything about Nazis, Jason brings that joke up.
It's funny every time.
Not as bad as my grandma died in a Jewish bakery.
Oh man, Jason's going to get us another strike at this point.
That's funny. But watch how as the warmongers in America start pushing this war with Russia, America will be the biggest, baddest thing in the world. And, you know, uh, but Russia, we gotta be. Everybody's got to be scared because it's Russia. Yeah, but Ukraine doesn't. The baddest person in their military was somebody that you made up. The ghost of 4chan or whatever it was. The George Floyd that was flying the jet around killing people.
Oh, that would have been hilarious. George Floyd trying to fly a jet fighter.
Oh man, the memes with George Floyd in the Ghost of Kiev jets were the best.
Yeah, every time this guy got shot down, he ran and stole another one. Uh-huh. Yeah, I believe that. My daughter was telling me that shit. I'm like, uh-huh. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's like, are you even listening to yourself at this point?
Or they were flipping out. Vladimir Putin bombed like 5 or 6 schools. They were like, I can't believe he killed 75 people bombing schools. And come to find out, some idiot posted it on Reddit that his military detachment in Ukraine was at this school, and apparently, people don't know how the internet works. If you don't turn off the locator when you post something on the internet, it'll show where you posted it from. So Vladimir Putin started bombing all these schools because these idiots were posting their locations on the internet, talking about we're in schools doing military stuff. So no kids were killed, no civilians were killed, just a bunch of military guys who were hiding in schools.
No,
Remember,
so
remember
basically
when
they
the
were,
Muslims? Remember when the Muslims would
yeah,
hide in the
I
mosque
was
and
going to
we'd
say
be
the
like, "Hey, stop!"
Palestinians.
Yeah.
Remember, the Israelis get attacked all the time because they were attacking hospitals. No, they were attacking the idiots that you had in the hospitals.
Yeah, no, like missile defense system you got mounted on top of the school building and shit.
Vladimir Putin's been screaming for 20 years, "Get your military arms off my border." And NATO and America was like, "Nah, and kept stuffing weapons in Ukraine. He's like, "You're pissing me off here. Stop doing this." And they kept doing it, so he's like, all right, well, I've had enough.
I think we're gonna have to cut it here because it's getting late. So again, want to send our thoughts and condolences out to the family of Scott Hall. And, that was a hell of a way to go. If there's a silver lining, at least he didn't know. You know what I mean? He went in for surgery and he just never woke up. But I guess if you're going to find a silver lining to it, I guess that's a peaceful way to go. I guess you could say.
Yeah, yeah, you can look at it that way. He didn't suffer, uh,
Mm-hmm.
but man, that is just a strange way to go, man. After the years that he'd lived and the things he'd seen and experienced, not just wrestling, but just in life. You know what I mean? And to go out because of a blood clot, you know what I mean? That's just crazy.
It's just, and if anything, it shows how fragile life is. So anyway, we're going to be getting out of here. So Kingpin, you got anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Thanks everybody that joined in the side chat. Everybody that's gonna listen to the replay. Hey Squib, hopefully you're doing good today, man. And take it easy. Thanks for having me.
What about you, Jason?
No, man, just thanks for the invite, man. Glad you did a show. Glad you're feeling better. And yeah, I heard about Scott Hall earlier in the week, and I was sitting here wondering all day if you were going to do a show. Uh, Glad to just stop by and talk to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Once again, to reiterate our top story from the night that we covered for a good bit earlier in the show. Scott Hall dead at 63 from blood clot induced heart attack during hip surgery.
63, man. Wow.
Yeah. Usually would do the joke outro, but tonight we're not going to do that tonight. Not with the theme of the show and everything. I don't think it's fitting. So sorry, MK Joe, not tonight. But we'll do it tomorrow night. So be sure to watch the show tomorrow.
Hulk Hogan said his career was over. His life was in a downhill spiral and everything. And he said that Scott Hall was the one that raised him up, got him back on his feet, got him his second half of his career, second chance in wrestling or whatever to
Mm-hmm.
to get back on his feet. But Hogan said he was in the lowest place of his life, and Scott Hall is the man who's responsible for getting him back to where he
Yeah,
is.
it was Hall and Nash that talked Hogan into going over to WCW when Vince let him go. Between there, he was floundering around over in like New Japan and stuff, trying to find a job that he could do on a night by night basis. So, anyway, on that note, we will bid you all adieu for this week. Have a good night, everybody, and again, condolences to the family of Scott Hall.
Hey yo.
One more for the good guys.